Am I audible?
Yes,
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 ma'am.
you are audible.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So we'll start the second fire lecture today. Thanks to BAKS for giving me this opportunity once again to present the fire insurance lecture. And please bear with me. I'm suffering from severe cough and cold actually. So I might sound a bit nasal today. So I'm happy to see that BBKS lectures are getting very good response. So let's hope to continue the same for this lecture as well. So I'll just start with the presentation. So like in the last lecture, we completed the SFSP policies and the basic concepts of fire insurance. Today we'll be moving on to the new products of Griha Raksha, Sookshma, BSUS, Bharat Sookshma Udyam Suraksha, and BLUS, Bharat Laghu Udyam Suraksha. So this is the overview of today's lecture. We'll be looking at BGR, BSUS, BLUS, and of course IAR and business interruption. So SFSP and products they are still in force right now, but as per the government notification in 2021, three new standard products were introduced and which were applicable for all companies, including private ones. So these were the standardized products. Basically, they were trying to empower the small scale industries and individual customer. So from 1st April 2021, three new products that were Bharat Griha Raksha, in short we call it BGR, Bharat Sookshma Udyam Suraksha, BSUS, and Bharat Laghu Udyam Suraksha, BLUS, were introduced. So like I said, the product is standardized. The coverages are common for all companies. Only difference in all the products and the rating was the different rating used by the different companies. So they were subject to the file and use guidelines. So which policies did these three actually replace us? For earlier, SFSP policy was used for both dwellings as well as industries. So here the BGR, Bharat Griha Raksha, replaced the SFSP for dwellings, that is your home policies. Then BSUS replaced SFSP for risk of sum insured up to 5 crores. The name itself, like Sookshma, is like minute, small. So that is for 5 crores worth of industries. Then BLUS replaced SFSP, a little larger scale of industries, that is Laghu industries, that is 5 crores to 50 crores sum insured for the policy. And as like even now, the recent commission structure is revised for these retail products from 1st October onwards. So all these products, three products, fall under the retail category of products. And like individual products, these same kinds of rating and underwriting guidelines will be used for the package policy sections as well, wherever fire section is being used. So we'll start with the first product, that is Bharat Griha Raksha. Like I said before, it replaced SFSP policy, standard fire policy for dwellings. So what does it cover exactly? So the three main covers are there. First is the home building cover. That is for your home building, the structure. Second is the home contents cover. Whatever is there in your home, the contents, the furniture fixtures, the articles. And third are these optional covers, which are given along with this policy. That is for valuable contents. Of course, at home, you must be having jewelry or some valuable items. So under the BGR, even these items can be covered. And the second one, which is actually a miscellaneous product, which is also being added. So you can see the customization of this product. So not only fire, but even PA policy is given in this. We'll be looking into these covers later. So yeah, so first question you must know is who can purchase this product? Who can purchase a Bharat Griha Raksha policy? So for the first cover which we saw, home building cover. So first one is the owner or you're occupying it or you're the purchaser, you can buy it, or the tenant or the licensee or even your employee if they are staying in your home. Then for housing societies, see dwellings is for both housing societies and the individual housing dweller as well. Then home welfare association, and even dwellings owned by corporates, like even a quarters. And the last is if you're a tenant under an agreement in writing and are liable for insurance, like your insurable interest should be there. Then second is the home contents cover. Who can take this cover? if you're the owner of the articles or the things, or you have purchased these articles under installment or hire purchase system or on lease. Sometimes you buy things on lease, on loan, and then you're liable for their cover as well. So you can buy this home contents cover. Third is insured is responsible for articles or things as part of written contract of employment. Next, what is the property covered? Like first, home building and home contents. So there are three types of covers. Okay, you insured is given an option to select. First is a comprehensive cover where the person can select home building and the contents as well. Second is home building only the structure. You're the owner and someone else is staying in your house, so you will take the structure policy, and the tenant or someone who's residing there will take the contents policy. And the third is home contents only. So home building is basically a building consisting of a residential unit having an enclosed structure. Like I said, the structure of the building is covered. It does not include the contents of your home because for contents there's a separate cover, home contents cover. Also, it will include, along with the structure, it will include the fixtures and fittings permanently attached, not movable fittings. Okay, the walls, roof, or even sanitary fittings, electrical wiring, and other permanent fittings. Also, additional structures. Nowadays, there are solar panels fitted on the roofs and all. So even these structures can be covered. So the list is given below. Like these additional structure like garage, your domestic outhouses for residents, parking spaces, compound walls, even for your society and all, you can cover the compound wall as well in the home building section. Fences, gates, retaining walls, internal roads, veranda, porch, and the like. Your tanks, your water storage units, your solar panels, wind turbines, ACs, central heating systems, etc. And any other structure, wherever the insured, whether the insured is declaring that this property is also covered in the home building structure, even that property gets covered here. Then home contents cover. After the structure is covered, the internal aspect of the structure also is covered. In this, so like I said before, home building is for permanently fixed structures. Here, home contents is for articles which are not permanently attached or fixed, which are of personal and non-commercial use. Like there are two types of contents. First is the general contents, like your furniture, your electronic equipments, your solar panels, your kitchen equipment, clothing, apparel, etc. And second are the valuable contents, like your jewelry, your silverware, your paintings, works of art, antique items, etc. So here, there in this policy, there is one special cover. Like if you have opted, listen to this carefully, if you have opted for home building and home contents cover, that is the comprehensive cover, the general contents of your home equal to 20% of sum insured for home building cover, subject to maximum of 10 lakh rupees, are automatically covered. So even if you don't declare your content separately in the home building and content cover type of option, your contents cover are automatically covered for 20% of sum insured, and the maximum limit is 10 lakhs. So valuable contents cover, how are we going to evaluate how costly are these items? So for that, we ask for valuation certificate. So it is some in this policy, there is a provision where it can be waived if the sum insured opted is up to 5 lakhs and individual item does not exceed 1 lakh. In the normal SFSP policy practice, we always used to ask for valuation certificate. However, in BGR, this provision is given where this valuation certificate can be waived off if the sum insured is up to 5 lakhs. That's the sum insured for the valuable item, and individual item should not exceed 1 lakh. So either of these two conditions are not met, valuation certificate has to be taken. Also, like the name itself suggests, it's the Griha Raksha policy. So the use of this premises should be for residential only, like for yourself, your family, your tenant, your licensee, or your employee. So, so it can, the claim can be made not payable if the home building is used as holiday home, lodging, or boarding, which is being used for commercial purpose and not residential purpose, because if you see section 4 has lodging boarding houses as occupancy, that is of a commercial nature, so it will fall under Sookshma or Laghu Udyam policy, not in the Griha Raksha policy. Second, your home building or any part of your building is used for purposes other than residential, like we saw before. Except you must be thinking about the corona period where we all were working from home. So whether Griha Raksha, like we are doing the commercial kind of work, but from home premises. So for this, there is an exception, like where it is used for both your residence and for purpose of earning your livelihood. If you are self-employed or you have shifted your office to your home building for a temporary period due to lockdown or closure of your office ordered by public authority. So it should be sanctioned by public authority that there is a lockdown, or you won't be able to work, travel to your office, and that's why your business operations are getting conducted from your home itself. Then this claim will be payable. It will be covered under the Griha Raksha policy. So we move on to what is the basis of sum insured for a Griha Raksha policy. So earlier, see, Sookshma and Laghu products have their sum insured criteria. Whereas for Griha Raksha, irrespective of sum insured, whether it's 100 crores or it is 1 crore, the product will still remain as Bharat Griha Raksha only. There is no maximum sum insured limit. Whatever is the value of your property, it will be covered in the Griha Raksha property. And the best part is there is no under insurance for this. I'll be giving you case studies where you'll understand this concept, how this no under insurance provision works. So for home building, so what we are going to consider as sum insured is the prevailing
Voice is not coming.
No voice, ma'am.
No picture, no voice, ma'am.
Please wait, I am connecting with Madhuri ma'am. Please wait for a minute. She is rejoining the meeting.
Hello?
Now audible, ma'am.
Yeah, audible. I'll just continue. Yeah. Sorry for the interruption. We'll be continuing it. Yeah. So, like I was saying, there's no underinsurance in the Griha Raksha product. So, for home building, what we consider is the prevailing cost of construction, which is declared by you and accepted by us, that is the insurer. For annual policy, the sum insured will be, one second, I'll just minimize this. For annual policy, the sum insured will be automatically increased each day by an amount representing 1/365th of the 10% of sum insured at the policy commencement date. So like Griha Raksha is for long term also, and it is an annual policy also. So when annual policy is opted by the insured, sum insured increases every day. Like I've given the ratio 1/365th. But till 10% of sum insured, that is the limit. For the option of long-term policy, when it is more than 1 year duration, sum insured will automatically increase each year by 10% for home building cover without additional premium. So this is a special provision given for the long-term policy. Till which level it will increase? That is, it will increase till maximum of 100% of sum insured at the policy commencement date. And for this, there will be no additional premium charged. Yeah, the sum insured for this is cost of construction. So what is this cost of construction? The formula is given. It is the carpet area of your home structure in square meters, not square feet, but square meters into the rate of cost of construction at the commencement date plus cost of construction for additional structures, whatever you have declared, your garage or your compound wall. It should be declared at the commencement date itself. So just a small example. If your carpet area is 100 square meter and your cost of construction is 20,000, carpet area and your cost of construction at the commencement date is 20,000 per square meter, your sum insured should be 20 lakhs. You have to multiply both, and whatever the figure is, that should be your sum insured. After the home building, we'll go to home contents cover. So when you opt only for the home contents cover, insured has to declare sum insured for the general contents. Whatever the insured is declaring it to us, we have to take it at the face value, and this he is the best person to decide what should be the sum insured. Second is home building and home contents cover. Is an inbuilt, like I said, like we saw before, there is an inbuilt cover for general contents where you have opted this option of home building and home contents cover. That home contents equal to 20% of your sum insured for home building. That is up to maximum of 10 lakhs are automatically covered. Suppose you want to cover your home contents for a higher sum insured, not up to 10 lakhs, you want to cover it for higher, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 1 crore. Then it can be opted by declaring in the proposal form and paying additional premium. So this 20%, up to 20% of sum insured and 10 lakhs is free of cost. It is inbuilt in the policy. But wherever the insured wants to cover a higher limit, he has to pay additional premium and we'll cover it. So what should be the sum insured? It should cover the cost of replacement. For home building, it should be cost of construction. For contents, it should be the cost of replacement. Yeah, now the optional covers, what we were talking about. So cover for valuable contents on agreed value basis. So of course, valuable contents are on agreed value basis, like we had seen in the SFSP policy as well. There has to be a valuation certificate. But for this Bharat Griha Raksha product, it is waived off if the sum insured is up to 5 lakh and individual item. Like there can be 10 or 20 items and they all amount to 5 lakh, but individual items shouldn't exceed 1 lakh. So if both these conditions are not met, then you need to take the valuation certificate. Now this is that special feature, that is the personal accident cover. If due to some peril or some damage to home building, It also results to the death of the insured person or the spouse. Up to 5 lakh sum insured is given as a PA cover in the policy along with it is an optional cover. So the insured can opt for this cover as well. So what are the highlights of this policy? We'll just run through them. First is no underinsurance applicable. There is no policy, like even for SFSP, there was never any excess for a dwelling policy. Similarly, here Griha Raksha will also not have any excess except for terrorism, because for Griha Raksha, terrorism is an inbuilt cover. It is an covered peril. We'll be looking into the perils in the next few slides. So, and also the proposal form provides for nomination with relationship mentioned. This is a particular feature of this policy. Also, like these non-covered contents are the bullion, unset precious stones, vehicles, explosive substances. See, in new policies, there is no option of market value. In earlier policies like SFSP, there was an option of market value or reinstatement value. Here, it has to be taken for reinstatement value only. There is no option. Reinstatement of sum insured after loss is not actually called as reinstatement, but it is termed as restoration of sum insured in these new products. So this is a small minor. The meaning and the essence of the cover remains the same. However, the terminology used is restoration of sum insured and not reinstatement. Terrorism is an inbuilt cover in all these products: Griha Raksha, Laghu, Sookshma. So Griha Raksha has the duration option of either annual, that is for 1 year, long term, that is 10 years, or maximum up to 40 years. There is a new product introduced, Flexi Long Term Griha Raksha, for which 40 years period, policy period can be given to an individual, and for a society, 5 years can be given. So what are the perils covered? So if you go through the perils, you'll come to know they are the same perils like the SFSP policy. Only few perils are additional, which is, and there are some modification, additional as well as modification of perils. If you see fire, lightning, explosion, implosion, RSMD, impact damage, but in impact damage, they have included this term called as damage caused by any external physical object, which was not in the earlier policies. So in this external physical object, even aircraft damage is included. Whereas in SFSP, aircraft damage was a separate peril covered. Then STFI also includes tsunami. So if you remember, for STFI, earthquake and STFI both has to be covered in SFSP policy. Here, since earthquake is an inbuilt peril along with terrorism and STFI, so tsunami is also getting covered automatically. MTO, SLR, bursting, overflowing of tanks, apparatus pipes, leakage, bushfire, and along with bushfire, forest and jungle fire are also covered, which was not the case in SFSP. One more additional cover, which is like a miscellaneous cover, which is given here, is the theft within 7 days of any insured event. So even theft is getting covered in this BGR policy. 13 and 14 are the additional ones. Earthquake, volcanic eruption, and natural conversions, where earthquake was a exclusion in SFSP and an add-on cover. Here it is an inbuilt cover. And the last one is the acts of terrorism. Terrorism is a default cover in all the new products. Later on, there were modification and flexi products were introduced where terrorism could be opted out. So here, 14 perils are covered. I've given you the short form like it was there for SFSP as well. So along with these perils which are covered, there are some inbuilt covers as well. So first is the architect surveyor, is ASCES, as we call it, consulting engineer cover. That is up to 5% of sum insured. Removal of debris, 2% of claim amount. Let me correct myself. Architect surveyor fees is 5% of claim amount. Debris is 2% of claim amount. Then loss of rent. Whenever Griha Raksha product is taken, there will be either loss of rent or rent for alternative accommodation as a optional cover, inbuilt cover. So loss of rent is where you're the owner and you've given it out to rent to someone. Then suppose if there's some damage, you're losing out on your rent. So this loss of rent can be taken as an cover by you. Like you can declare that you want this cover for maximum of 36 months. There is a discount. For 36 months, it is 15%. And for 24 months, it is 5%. Similarly, if you're a tenant and there's some damage or peril happening, and then you have to shift your premises, so you're even given this option of rent for alternative accommodation. That is also for three years only.
Hello, madam.
Yes,
Hello,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Loss of rent is an optional cover or is an inbuilt cover?
Inbuilt cover, but until and unless the insured doesn't tell you that you want, how are you going to cover it? So it's not an optional, it's an inbuilt cover. It is
Okay.
given as a part of the product. If they don't want to opt it, they can say we don't want
Okay.
it. So we move on to the exclusions. So there are 12 exclusions in the product. So these are the common exclusions which were there for the SFSP as well. So deliberate and willful or intentional omissions, the war perils or the nuclear risk or the pollution perils or the electric cover, only that machine affected will be excluded, wherever the subsequent damages will be payable. And sixth is the bullion or precious stones, unless covered explicitly. Like they have to specially declare them, give us a valuation certificate, and then maybe cover it. Next is missing or mislaid property without identifiable event. So this also can't be covered in the Griha Raksha policy. Then with insured property removed from home. The location is the basis of this policy. So if they are removed from home, they won't be covered. Loss of earnings, that is the consequential losses, they are also not covered. Reduction in market value after repair or reinstatement. If there's any market value reduction and then after it is done, so that also will not be covered. Home structure alterations which are more than 10% of carpet area, because 10% is anyways we are giving them the sum insured increased benefit. So if there are any changes which are, the value is more than the 10%, so without an endorsement, without additional premium, they won't be covered. And finally, the claim preparation cost. They are also not covered in the Griha Raksha standard product. So these are the common exclusions which were there for SFSP as well. So for fire, if it's an order of public authority, it won't be covered. If there is cracking, settlement or normal bedding of the property, it won't be covered. Impact damage, like for pressure waves, those aircraft damage, whatever standard exclusions were there in SFSP, same are applicable here as well. And theft within 7 days is covered. However, if they are outside, if the articles are outside premises and externally attached, unless securely mounted, if they are not, that precaution is not taken for them to be securely mounted, they won't be covered. After the exclusions, we move on to add-on covers. Like what are the covers which can be given by payment of additional premium? So removal of debris, like 2% of claim amount is inbuilt cover. However, in addition of that, up to 5% maximum, we can give as an add-on cover. Same for ASCES as well. In excess of 5%, if the insured wants to opt, we can give him up to maximum of 10% of claim amount. Now, this is a peculiar cover of a Griha Raksha policies, reimbursement of food expenses. Like if there's a peril happening and you're not able to live there, even your food provision has to be made. So for this policy, even 15,000 rupees is given as an add-on cover for maximum of 3 days. Then fourth is the garden or landscaping. Like, not just a home structure, you have some surrounding garden property or your landscape, even damage to that takes place. The add-on cover of landscaping can be covered with as an add-on after paying of additional premium. It will be 5% of claim amount and maximum 25,000. Then loss minimization expenses. Wherever the insured is taking the efforts to minimize the loss, which is going to be beneficial in turn to the company as well and for him as well. We are providing him, we are giving him the add-on option of add-on cover where he can, claim up to 5% of claim amount and maximum up to 10 lakhs. Then immediate repairs, like immediately if any repairing needs to be done, for housing society, it will be up to 50,000 and for individual, it is up to 10,000. See, claim preparation cost, that was the last point of the exclusion. it can be given as an add-on cover. So if he wants to cover this claim preparation cost, he can opt for it by an additional premium. 5% of claim amount and 25 lakhs for housing society and 50,000 for individual. The quantum is depending on the first insured. If it's an individual insured, the sum insured required will be less. And if it's a society, of course, the volume and the quantum will be more. Then omission to insure, which will be 5% of sum insured. And brokerage. So food, reimbursement of food expenses and brokerage for alternative accommodation. Like, if when you go to live on rent, you have to pay the brokerage as well. So even that aspect is being getting covered in this Griha Raksha policy. So like I was saying, modifications were made in the Griha Raksha policy, and options of flexi and long-term flexi Griha Raksha were also later on developed. So what are the differences in these products? So for Bharat Griha Raksha and Bharat Griha Raksha Flexi. Flexi, whenever the term is used, it means removal of terrorism, option of getting the terrorism covered, removed, opted out of. For them, the policy period was up to 10 years. And for Griha Raksha long term, it is up to 40 years for individual dwellings, because many a times there is a loan component in individual dwellings. So even the banks sometimes ask for a long term policy. So here we are giving them the option of cover up to 40 years, and for society we are restricting it to 5 years. Then there are opt-out options of perils. So for Griha Raksha, there is no opt-out, and everything is inbuilt. Terrorism is inbuilt, earthquake is inbuilt. But for Griha Raksha Flexi, since Flexi portion is there, there will be option of terrorism opting out. And for Griha Raksha long term, there is even an option of opting out of earthquake and STFI. So you can just see the way these products are getting modified, by the new requirements of the insureds. And also they are now even come to a situation where you can opt out of earthquake and STFI. Then the optional covers, like we just went through, for Griha Raksha, valuable contents and personal accident. For Flexi, there was terrorism, even breakdown, valuable contents and PA, same which was there for Griha Raksha, but terrorism and burglary was an additional. And for Griha Raksha long term, terrorism can be covered, but only up to 20 years. Okay, for earlier products, it was whatever the period was opted for, but for Flexi long term, it is only up to 20 years. Then sum insured is appreciated. Like for Griha Raksha and Flexi, it is maximum up to 10% per year, and it is up to 100%. Like every year it will go on increasing. Maximum, like it's the double of the sum insured, they will keep on increasing. For Griha Raksha long term, it is 10% per year up to 20 years. And after 20 years, there is an option to freeze the sum insured either at, for the long period after 10 years, whichever policy they are opting. So they have the option to freeze the sum insured at 10th year or 20th year. So I've not gone too much into detail for this product because there's a lot to explain in that. But what from exam point of view, whatever you need to study, I've tried to put it in the presentation and the notes itself. Okay, before we move on to the BSUS policy, I would like to just give you some examples of case studies for Griha Raksha. So when you have let out your house under a registered lease to your tenant, like we saw, you're the owner, you are the home building cover can be taken by you as an owner, and your tenant can take the home contents cover. Like it is an unsaid agreement between you, you will be covering the structure and the tenant will be, he'll be using his own contents. So he'll be opting for the home contents cover. Now, slowly, when there are many things coming into as you're the owner and you're even having your business in the same premises, how it will work out. So you own a two-story house, you and your family reside in the building and run a grocery shop in two rooms of the ground floor and personally attend to the grocery business. This is the important part. You're personally attending to the grocery business. See, like it is your own family business. You are only the employees, you're yourself working there, you can purchase this Griha Raksha policy. Like we saw in that exception where you could even work from home and still this policy could be opted for. But now in the third scenario, you own and reside in a 3-story house. You are a partner in a firm that runs an electronic shop on the ground floor. 5 employees, these are outside employees, not your home people. 5 employees attend the shop. You can purchase this policy for the 2 floors of the building where you reside. So Griha Raksha will only cover the residential part of the premises, that is your living quarters. And for the shop, you'll have to uh, either buy that Sookshma or Laghu policy because it is being used as a commercial use. You're having the electronic shop where you are not yourself the employees, you're hiring someone. So this case study is sometimes asked in the exam where they'll suggest you like, can Griha Raksha cover this? Or is there any other policy to cover this aspect of the premise? After that, we are talking about the underinsurance concept. Like in Griha Raksha, there is no underinsurance. And why is it necessary to consider a sum insured or the value at the inception itself? See, the area of your home building is 100 square meter. You declare and we accept. You as an insured and we as an insurers, we are accepting that rate of cost of construction is 20,000 square meter per square meter. So your home building is insured for 20 lakhs. Suppose the home building is damaged by earthquake and there is total loss. The surveyor assesses the reconstruction cost on the date of earthquake at 16 lakhs. That is 16,000 per square meter for the town. Since we accepted the rate, we have, see, he said that the rate is actually 16,000 only. But still the insured gave us at the time of inception that it was 20,000. He has informed us a higher rate. But since he accepted it, we are going to pay the claim. We won't tell him that now it is 16,000, so we'll be paying you only at the rate of 16,000 per square meter. So that's why this is important to know the value at the policy inception as at itself. So we say that since we accepted the rate that you declared as an insured, we will pay the total loss, total amount, that is 20 lakhs and not 16 lakhs. That's why we have to be very careful in Griha Raksha products and the sum insured assignment at the time of inception itself. We'll look into further case studies. Now the area of...
If there is any variation in the area,
yeah, that's what I'm going to the next example. You'll come to know.
Okay.
Yeah. So if your area of your home building is 100 square meter, rate of construction is 15,000 per square meter. By mistake, okay, this is at the mistake of the insured. They declared an area of 120 square meter. That is a higher square meter area. And your home building is insured for 18 lakhs instead of 15 lakhs. So since he declared a higher area, the rate was applied on the higher area and higher sum insured was opted out. Your home building again gets, by we are taking the example of earthquake only. Since the actual area was not correctly declared, we will pay 15 lakhs. So the area component is important. He has to declare the correct area because if that area, see, the rate of construction can vary, but area won't vary. The insured should be aware of the area he's residing in. So if he's declaring higher, but at the time of loss, if that is not the case, we'll be proportionately deducting it. So we'll be only paying for whatever is actually eligible for. Similarly, in the next example, the area of home building is 100 square meter. Rate of construction is 15,000. Same rate, same area. But by mistake, instead of declaring a higher area, he has declared a lower area of 90 square meter.
Slides
And
are
the
not
home
coming, madam.
Acha, slides. Is this visible? Are you able
No.
to see the case studies?
No.
ma'am.
I'll just stop and I'll try sharing again, then maybe. Are you able to see them now, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
BGI
But it
case
was
study.
not appearing since last 6 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes, madam.
Oh, I'll be sharing these slides and if you can just go, go with me, along with me only, you'll come to know whatever we had discussed.
Okay.
And you can go through them again. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just take the first example again since you are not able to see them. See, in the first example here, the area is 100 square meter and the rate is 15,000 per square meter. Here, the insured by mistake has declared a higher area. Instead of 100 square meters, he has given a declared an area of 120. So when at the time of claim, the surveyor says that actually the area is only 100, not 120. So the loss will be payable only for 100 square meter and not 120 square meter. Like he should have declared the area is an important component. He can't go wrong about it. Now for the second example, area declared is less. Instead of 100 square meter, the insured has declared a lesser area of 90 square meter. So home building insured by as per the rate, it comes to 13 lakh 50 instead of 15 lakhs. There is a loss. Now here the loss that requires repairs, not total loss, repairs. Repairs that cost you 5 lakhs. Since it is repair work and since you have declared less, but it is covered in that 13 lakhs, we will pay you 5 lakhs. So here under insurance won't work because individually he is eligible for that. He has declared less and not over-insured himself. In the third example, carpet area of your home building is 100 square meter. Rate of construction is 20,000. And here the person has opted for both home building and home contents cover, but they have not specifically given anything about the sum insured for contents. So we must go back to that special provision. Whenever home building cover and home contents is opted, 20% is automatically covered. So here they have given that contents in your home are worth 8 lakh. If the contents of your home are damaged in a fire and loss is 2 lakh, we will pay you 2 lakh because contents of 4 lakh, that is 20% of the home building sum insured. Here home building sum insured is, we have taken at 20% of building sum insured is inbuilt cover. So 20 into 100 is 20 lakh. And he has inbuilt cover up to 4 lakh is inbuilt. And he has not declared them. In spite of that also, we'll be giving him the cover because it is an inbuilt cover.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Please explain third example again.
Third example. Okay. So carpet area of the building is 100 square meter. Rate of construction is 20,000. So 20,000 into 100 is 20 lakhs. You have opted for home building and home
It's 2
contents.
crore, 2 crore.
Oh, sorry. It will be 20 lakhs only, right? 100 into 20,000. Hello? Yeah. So, so the insured has taken the option of home building and home contents cover both. That is the comprehensive cover of Griha Raksha policy. So here 20% of contents cover is automatically covered. 20% of the building sum insured. So 20% here, 20% is I think 4 lakhs. Yeah. So contents for 20% are automatically covered. Now here they are saying that contents of your home are worth 8 lakhs, but he has not declared. So we don't know what was the contents worth. But for us, since he has opted the home building and contents cover, 20% is automatically covered. 20% of 20 lakhs is 4 lakh rupees. So till 4 lakh, his contents are going to be covered. And if you see the damage is only for 2 lakhs. So he has the cover of 4 lakhs automatic. So 2 lakhs will be given to him. I think I was clear for this example. Do you need more clarification for this?
Hello, madam.
Clear,
Hello.
clear.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Huh.
In the second example, you
Hmm.
have taken it as a repair basis. If it is total
Huh.
loss, then due to earthquake.
Total loss, then he has declared a lesser. So whatever he has declared, that will be our
That is
liability.
okay. And one more thing I wanted to ask. Suppose somebody is
Mm-hmm.
having a house, ground plus one, like ground floor 100 square
Huh.
meter, and again he's having on
Hmm.
top floor 100 square meter. So total area we will take as 200 or 100 only.
What
Carpet area.
construction will be for both the floors, na?
Yeah.
So we'll have to take both
Because-
the areas.
So we have to take 200.
That is what he'll have to construct the second floor only, na? Not only the ground floor.
Yeah, on top also he's constructing.
Like an additional
True.
structure also, compound
Yeah.
wall. He'll be giving us that area as well, na? So we have to take
Yeah.
whatever area he needs to be constructed again. So that complete area has to be taken.
Oh, thank you.
So, moving on. So this additional inbuilt cover for home contents and home building and home contents cover, we have to remember that 20% of building sum insured is automatically covered. Had it been the case that there was a loss and it was 10 lakhs contents, he wouldn't have got more than 4 lakhs in this case. Here, since the loss is only for 2 lakhs, we are giving the 2 lakh rupees. But if it was more than 4 lakhs, our loss would have restricted to 4 lakhs only. Then we'll go back to our earlier presentation of fire insurance and we'll start with the Sookshma policy. I hope everyone is aware about the Raksha product now. And when if you have any queries, you can just drop them down in the message section or something. We'll look into it at the end because today's lecture is going to be a long one. We have to cover a lot of policies and lot of aspects, many sums. So I'll just try to be quick about it. We'll move on to the next product now, Bharat Sookshma Udyam. Sookshma, small. So it is for the enterprises whose sum insured or total insurable asset at a location does not exceed 5 crores. This is the maximum sum insured which can be given in a Sookshma policy.
Ma'am,
We are
again not visible. Slide not
not
visible.
visible. Okay, one minute.
Ma'am, small query.
Yes, sir.
We are covering under Bharat Griha Raksha policy both structure and contents.
Yes, sir.
But tomorrow there is only damage to contents and there is no damage to structure. Still it is payable.
There is an option now. If you take only home building or home contents,
No, if,
and you
what
can
I am
even
asking is, if there is a claim only on contents and he has covered both building and contents, but structure is not damaged, only contents are under fire, then is it payable?
yes, it
Or it
will
has
be
to
payable, sir. No, there is no
it will not
condition that there has to be a damage to building, then
oh,
only contents
okay,
will be payable.
okay, thank you.
Ma'am, are you able to see the presentation now?
Yeah.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes, na? Okay. So, Bharat Sookshma Udyam Suraksha. Why this is coming in between? Can I move this? Okay. So, yeah, Bharat Sookshma Udyam Suraksha for sum insured up to 5 crores. What is the property covered? Any building or structure where you carry on your business. Now, Griha Raksha was for residential use. Sookshma and Laghu will be for commercial use wherever the business is getting carried on. So it can be a unit of a building. It can be made of any material, which will include even the basement, your fixtures, fittings, your walls, your roofs, and even the additional structure like they were there in the Griha Raksha policy. Your garage, your security sheds, your towers, your retaining walls, compound walls, internal roads, etc. Your lifts, hoists, whatever are the components in an industrial premise. Your solar panels, wind turbines, your sprinkler systems, your sewage pipeline. So basically, insured has to declare everything to us. Then we come to know at the time of claim whether this was considered in the sum insured or not. So the last point is any other structure shown in the policy schedule. So whatever he declares to us in the proposal form will be covered. Second, other than the structure is the plant and machinery, which was not there in Griha Raksha, of course. Plant and machinery is there in the industrial policies. So all equipment, pipes, cables, your computers, your preloaded license system software So this is slowly we are moving on to the software as well for the Sookshma policies now. But it should be preloaded. Machines under repair, your machines you have taken on hire or lease, like goods held in trust kind of a system. Foundation, your bedding, your accessories of the plant and machinery. Then stock. After your structure, after your plant and machinery comes the stock, because you're a manufacturing industry or premises. So it can be either finished stocks or semi-finished stocks, your raw materials, even the stock you have accepted for job work. Sometimes they are stock belonging to someone else, but since you are going to work on them, you're going to process them, you have to keep them in your premises, and the liability is on you to keep them safe. So you can even opt for this policy when you're working on job work basis. Then stock held in trust, and even stock in open in your premises. And other than this, other all assets, whatever are there, furniture, fixtures, office equipment, your canteen, kitchen equipment, your gym, many of these premises nowadays, commercial premises, it's not just industry, even your official premises are covered in Sookshma and Laghu policies. So your gym equipment, your permanent sports equipment, they are also covered.
Madam, for the stocks in open to be covered, is there any conditions or mere declaration will be sufficed?
Mere declaration, and you can charge a higher rate. Actually, in premises, all kinds of stocks are covered, but rating depends on office to office basis or the nature of risk. So he has to declare. A main basis for any policy is to declare.
Okay, thank you.
All other assets. How to erase this line? I don't know who was. I don't know why people are writing. Okay. The assets, and then so who can purchase this policy? Like for the building or structure, either you're owning it, you're occupying it, or you're taken it on lease, or it is like, even if you're yourself, you're renting out, or you have rented it out to someone else, so they can take this policy. And for plant and machinery, stock, or any other property, you're using it, you're owning it, or it's like a goods held in trust kind of a situation, or job work basis. So wherever you are going to be liable for damage to be caused for any kind of stock or the property, the person is liable, is eligible to take this policy. There's one small note here. Many a times there is an increase in sum insured, especially if it's a manufacturing premise. Stocks keep on increasing, and suppose the value exceeds 5 crores. So there is no option to change the policy in between. It will still continue as a Sookshma policy only. At the time of renewal, whatever policy is applicable, like if it exceeds 5 crores and it becomes 6 crores or higher than that, Laghu policy will be issued, but at the time of renewal. In the current policy, it will continue as a Sookshma policy only till expiry. So in short, there is no midterm change of product. Whatever is decided at the inception, since the policy of Sookshma is opted by the insured, till the end of policy period, it will be treated as a Sookshma policy only. And then at the time of renewal, the sum insured will be checked, and whatever is applicable, that policy will be issued. So what is the basis of sum insured in a Sookshma policy? So like our normal SFSP or any kind of fire policy for building, plant, machinery, furniture, fixture, it is always reinstatement value. And for stocks, it will be market value. So for raw material, it will be the landed cost as whatever you have bought the raw material for, that price. For stock in process, you are processing it. So whatever input cost you have put added to that stock will be added to the value of the landed cost, and that will be the market value for the stock. For the finished stock, whatever the manufacturing cost you incurred for the finished stock is the sum insured, is the market value. The contract price is only for goods which are sold but not delivered, like they are awaiting delivery, or maybe someone is going to collect them. Whatever is the agreed price between the seller and the buyer, that is the contract price, for which you, as in the insured, is responsible. And under the conditions of the sale contract is cancelled by reason of any damage insured. So the damage, because of that, the sale, there's some damage at the premises of the buyer maybe or something, and because of that, the sale contract is cancelled. So under this policy, either the wholly or the whatever agreed price is there, that is the contract price, will be payable only for the goods which are sold but not delivered. Because once you sell them, actually the liabilities of the buyer to come and get insurance for it. But since they're still in the premises of the seller itself, they are being covered. It's kind of somewhere between goods held in trust but not actually insurable interest in them. But still, just for being sure for the cover, we are giving the contract price cover for this. And last, the bullion or unset precious stones, curious works of art, or obsolete machinery, where you can't find a market value for them. Agreed value basis is covered. Of course, subject to valuation certificate. There is no waiver of valuation certificate like Griha Raksha in a Sookshma policy. Then, like I said, the term now is used restoration of sum insured and not reinstatement of sum insured. So whenever there's a loss, proportionate premium for the unexpired policy will restore the policy to the original sum insured. So the insured has the option of not going for restoration of sum insured. He can say, no, okay, there's a loss, I might not increase my business operations, whatever is the sum insured now after the loss settlement, claim settlement, I will continue with that. So he can still opt for that. However, the sum insured will now stand reduced by the amount of loss, because it's the insured's choice. If he wants to bring back the sum insured to the original sum insured, then he will have to pay the additional premium for it. Now, this condition of underinsurance is peculiar for Sookshma and Laghu, which is underinsurance waiver up to 15%. Earlier in IAR policy, this was an inbuilt cover. However, that same cover is now been extended to even small value policies of Sookshma and Laghu. So here in this policy, there is an underinsurance waiver up to 15%. That is, even if the insured has taken his value of the premises up to 80%, 85% of sum insured, we are going to consider it. So that 15% difference is not going to be considered as underinsurance. Okay. Next is reinstatement or replacement value of insured property, including additions, alteration, is more than the sum insured, except to the extent waived, that is 15%, it amounts. So wherever if the difference is more than 15%, if it's 16% also, even by 1%, then underinsurance will be applicable. And that underinsurance will reduce proportionately the difference, and the claim amount will be proportionately reduced. So up till 15%, that margin is given, that benefit is given to the insured. But once it exceeds that, underinsurance will be applicable. And here, every item of insured property is subject to underinsurance condition, like we had seen in the SFSP policy as well. Like total value, but even individual components like the structure, the stock, the plant and machinery, individually also, the value is seen for underinsurance. So now what are the inbuilt covers? Inbuilt are this product automatically has these covers. Professional fees, that is the ASCES, 5% of claim amount. Removal of debris, 2% of claim amount. Addition, alteration, 15% of sum insured, excluding stock. And always remember, whenever there is addition or omission to insure, stocks don't be given that cover. Then temporary removal of stock. That is, sometimes you send the stock to some other premises. Like you are giving it out for job work to some other premises. After the processing is done, they come back to your premises. So for that temporary period, whenever they are moved out of your premises, 10% of value stock is covered automatically. Then fifth is cost compared by municipal regulation. Like there is some changes need to be made for your property. Some extra reconstruction cost is also covered. Then for specific contents, cover is given, like there are amounts specified, like money, there is up to 50,000, it can be covered. Your documents can be covered, your blueprints and all that, those kind of documents. Your personal effects is 15,000 per person, and maximum 20 people can be covered. And your data, like your preloaded software, like I was saying before, and programs, they can be covered up to 5 lakhs. Then startup expenses, wherever there's a loss and the company has to be started up again, whatever the expenses are incurred for that, this inbuilt cover is there. So for Sookshma, it's 1 lakh. And just for your information, I've written like Laghu, it is 5 lakhs. So see the quantum, see the cover we are giving. For Sookshma, since it's a small industry, 1 lakh, and Laghu, it will be 5 lakhs. Now this one inbuilt cover is only for Sookshma, stocks on floater basis. For Laghu policy, it is a cover, but for that additional premium, and it is not an inbuilt cover. For Sookshma, it is an inbuilt cover. You can even give it without charging the 10% loading of floater. And after inbuilt covers, we move on to the 16 exclusions. The exclusions, whenever they are applicable, first is the excess part, which is 5,000. Sookshma policy has a flat excess of 5,000 for each claim. Terrorism excess is as per terrorism clause. Wherever terrorism cover is given in any kind of policy, the terrorism pool and terrorism excess clause will be applicable. Then deliberate or willful, these all exclusions are same as Griha, Raksha and SFSP. So except for few points which are a bit different, like here building remains continuously unoccupied for period more than 30 days. That is also an exclusion. Then 11th point, this was there in Griha Raksha as well. Insured property which is missing or has been mislaid, it cannot be linked to any identifiable insured event. Like there's no relation between the insured peril and the property going missing. Now, like I was saying, there is even cover for removal of stocks or removal of plant and machinery. So, loss or damage to any insured property removed from a premises. Exceptions. See, now exception means when there is an exception in inclusion, it means it's covered. So, machinery and equipment which is temporarily removed for 60 days. It is, sometimes you need some refurbishment of machinery, or it has to be oiled or geared up, or some maintenance has to be done, and it is removed from a premises for 60 days. It is covered. That location is covered wherever your machinery is sent to. And similarly for removal of stocks, when it is sent for job work basis or for some processing, up to 10% of sum insured of stock is covered in the Sookshma policy. Then all other these exclusions are also same as Griha Raksha. The last one also, preparing any claim. Claim preparation is exclusion, but same can be covered as an add-on cover. We'll be looking in the next slides. Yeah. So after the inbuilt covers and the exclusions, we come to add-on covers. So first they tell us whatever is excluded, and then they give you the option of taking those covers as add-on covers. So loss minimization, these are all figures. You'll have to just remember them. So there's nothing for us, like there's no easy way to remember them as such. You'll just have to remember the figures by yourself. Hire and purchase, custody, inadvertent omission, that is omission to insure. Contamination, commingling, 5% of sum insured. Expediting expenses. Escalation cover, excluding stocks, of course. Leakage and overflow for oils and chemicals. Whenever there is a pollution, or there's an overflow of oils and all, because of that there's a damage. So this add-on cover can be opted. And claim preparation cost, involuntary betterment, cold storage deterioration, spoilage damage. Spoilage damage, there are two covers, one for stocks and one for machinery and equipment. Both for them, the cover is same, 25 lakhs. These are the maximum limits of indemnity we can give as add-on covers. Loss of rent, immediate repair, brands and trademarks, impact damage. Impact damage is, as per even the SFSP policy, the whole policy sum insured has to be taken.
Ma'am, what is involuntary betterment?
Involuntary betterment, like just an example, like if there's some machinery, you have been using that machinery for 10 years. Now that same machinery is not available in the market. Some newer model has come. So you don't by yourself want to, use the new machinery. But since there's no option available, it is an involuntary betterment. Like the technology has improved. It is also called as technological improvement. some new things are available which are not there like earlier. There are some new models, and now that earlier models are not available anymore in the market. So it is not, we can't say it's forcible, but it's like due to the changing times, it's an involuntary betterment. He has to take the better version. Okay. Yeah, so involuntary betterment. Next, we'll just go through the perils. Same 14 perils which were there. Now they include even terrorism, earthquake. Then now these few terms are added in the perils which were not there in SFSP, like fire. Now even own fermentation or natural heating or spontaneous combustion is covered. Earlier they were additional add-on covers in SFSP, but in Sookshma and Laghu, these are inbuilt covers, inbuilt perils which are covered. Even earthquake, terrorism, forest fire, jungle fire. Earlier it was only bush fire, but forest fire and jungle fire are also automatically perils which are covered here. And like I said before, in any external physical object, even aircraft is covered. Earlier aircraft was peril, of course it was covered, but it was mentioned separately. Here now it is mentioned in the external physical object heading itself. Now we move on to the cancellation of policies. What are the rules now? In case of cancellation by insured. So earlier when there were cancellation by insured, there was the short period rates. However, in this new product, whenever there is cancellation, it is pro rata plus 10%. So whatever the number of days is premium is payable plus 10%. 10% is the additional we take from the insured. The main thing, whenever there's a cancellation by insurer, that is by us as company, you can't cancel on any grounds except there is misrepresentation, non-disclosure of material facts, fraud, or non-cooperation of the insured. These are the only headings or only reasons by which you can cancel. Other than this, you can't say, okay, this was not followed, that's why we are canceling. No, that won't stand. IRD has clearly given these 4 grounds on which policy can be cancelled. Earlier, when there was policy cancellation by insurer, there was pro rata refund. But in this case, since there are aspects like fraud or even non-disclosure of material facts involved, there will be no refund of premium. So the only scope is when the insured is cancelling, we are giving him pro rata and 10%. But if we find out there was some aspect of fraud involved in this, we are not going to refund any premium to the insured. So after this, the minimum premium for this policy will be 100%, 100 rupees, not sorry, 100 rupees and GST.
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
as per the new guidelines of the IRDA, that refund to the insured on the cancellation, refund to the insured should be on pro rata, na?
If the insured is cancelling,
Yes.
pro rata, but for this product, it is pro rata plus 10%.
Acha, this will continue like this only.
Yes,
This 10% will not be cancelled.
No, 10% should not be cancelled because this is specific to this product. You're talking about which guidelines, ma'am? The master guidelines which are
Master
covered.
circuit, ha.
I think
For
they
the
are
retail
for
product, they have.
health. I think they're for health. But let me check. I'll just go through them again once. Because for normally for this product, when it was introduced, it was 10%. But I'll just check and get back to you.
Okay,
For
ma'am.
this. So declaration policy can be given for this stock, same as SFSP. The same terms which were there in my earlier lecture as well. Like there will be a provisional premium. Like you will be applying the rate on the stock they have declared, and at the inception we'll be considering that premium. Then declarations will be given monthly, and at the end they will be the average will be found out, and wherever he is eligible for refund, he'll be given. Cancellation also same thing. Declaration 50% retention of premium, and no reduction of sum insured during policy period. I'm not going into depth for the declaration aspect. It was there in the earlier presentation. So we are moving on to the Laghu policy. So before we move on to Laghu policy, again, I'll just give you a few case studies of Sookshma policies. So, for Sookshma case studies, suppose the insured's building catches fire.
Ma'am, not
All the-
visible. Slide not
अच्छा,
visible.
not- अच्छा, अच्छा, one second. Is it visible now, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
No. Now is it visible?
Visible, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, na? Oh, okay. Few case studies for Sookshma policy. Suppose the insured's building catches fire, the doors are open whenever to fight the fire. Firefighting measures are taken place, and a person takes advantage of this situation and carries away the electronic equipment. So, as we know that theft is a peculiar peril which is covered for this policy, which allows this kind of like damage or loss if it happens. Since it is within 7 days of occurrence of fire, we will pay. We as an insurer will pay up to the limits of applicable sum insured for that equipment. So first thing is it should be an insured peril. This theft is after it's happening after the insured peril, and it is within 7 days of occurrence of fire. So this kind of damage will be payable. In the second point case study, we are talking about the under insurance aspect. Okay. Sum insured of 5 crore is taken. Value of risk at the time of loss. Like when the loss happens, the surveyor informs us that the value is actually 5.5 crores. And there is a loss of 1 crore. Now here if you see 5.5 crores and 5 crores, the under insurance works out to be roughly 9%. Since it is less than 15%, we are giving them the benefit of our. Okay, I'll just mute everyone. Still hear people. So the value of risk was 5.5 and there's a loss of 1 crores. We are giving the benefit of under insurance up to 15%. So here the under insurance is only 9%. That's why we will consider the full claim of 1 crore. Now, after that example, the next example will explain us when the under insurance is higher than 15%. Then what we'll do? Suppose the shop has taken BSUS policy. The structure is of 3 crores, stock for 1 crore. That is the sum insured. Now the actual value of structure is 3.5 crores and value of stock is 1.5 crores. And the loss is of 50 lakhs. This 50 lakh stock of is burnt because of fire. Now the stock, if you see individual item also, there is an under insurance of 20%, which is higher than the benefit given by policy of 15%. So that we cannot waive. We will pay the claim of 40 lakhs only. That is 80% of 50 lakhs. So under insurance is 20%. That is only 80% of value we will be liable for. So that stock value of 50 lakhs will be proportionately reduced. So 80% of 50 lakh is only payable. That is 40 lakhs. Hope you all understood this example. We go back to the presentation again. Start with the Laghu insurance, Laghu Udyam Suraksha policy now. Now, like Sookshma was for up to 5 crores, Laghu policy is for 5 crores to 50 crores. Beyond 50 crores, our standard fire peril policy, SFSP, will continue. So this is like a medium scale policy, we can say. So here the value at risk across all insurable assets at one location. Just always remember, it is always at per location limit. It is not total policy sum insured. It is the location limit which decides the nature of policy. So if it exceeds 5 crores and is up to 50 crores, Laghu Udyam Suraksha policy will cover this risk. Property covered, I won't be giving you the same thing again and again on different slides. So it is same as Sookshma policy. Your building structure, your plant machinery, your stock and additional structures. Basis of sum insured is also same as Sookshma policy. Your rate of construction and the stock is market value. Now, if the policy will end automatically if the insured property is lost, destroyed or stolen, or its cost of repair is more. See, here now there are two aspects. If it's not identifiable to an insured peril, of course we won't cover, it's an exclusion. So if the property is lost in our policy, of course there's no property to cover anymore. So the policy will end. Or if the cost of repair is more than the sum insured, and we have paid you the entire sum insured for that property, and you have decided not to restore. So of course, once we have paid you total loss, there is no sum insured left in the policy, and you have decided not to restore the sum insured. So policy ends automatically. Okay. Acha, slide not visible. Okay. Yeah, I think the slides are not visible, right?
Yes, ma'am. Slides are not
Yes,
visible.
ma'am. Not visible.
Thank you for the graffiti. I was surprised. What's happening? Okay, I'll stop the sharing and
Excuse me, ma'am, I have a doubt.
yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, while calculating the under insurance,
Uh,
on what value we have to calculate the 15%? On the overall sum insured or on the individual sum insured of building or stock?
individual, ma'am. Individual contents have to be considered.
Okay, ma'am. If there is an under insurance in building, but there is no under
Uh,
insurance in stock, and there is a loss in stock, then what should be done, ma'am?
like if there is no under insurance in stock, then it shouldn't be an issue. Because
Then we
in
will pay
SEB,
the whole value.
in the earlier presentation, I also had mentioned that sometimes the total sum insured comes right also. But individual components, there is under insurance, so individual components claim will be treated on the individual component sum insured basis only. So since there is sum insured of stock is taken correct, and there is a loss in stock only, so it will be paid.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Is everyone able to see the screen now? Is it
Hmm.
visible?
No, ma'am.
Visible, but previous slide only visible, madam.
Case
BSUS.
studies only visible.
Case studies. Okay, okay, wait. This slide, Laghu Udyam Suraksha slide,
Yes, ma'am. Now it is visible.
now visible. So yeah, I was talking about why the policy will end automatically when. So first is when it's lost, destroyed or stolen. or when we have paid the entire total loss claim and the insured is opting not to restore the sum insured. So basically there's zero sum insured to cover now, policy will end. Second is change of ownership. There is some sale, and third is sale, of course. So whenever if there's any sale or the insured does not have any insurable interest in the property anymore, so the policy will end. Until unless the new owner approaches us for new insurance or something, till then we are not liable. The policy will end. The add-on covers, same as Sookshma policy, only the limits are different. So loss minimization might be 50 lakhs, now it's 1 crore a year. The quantum is different for the limits. Limits of add-on covers is different, but same add-on covers. Same 15 add-on covers are there in Sookshma also and Laghu also. Limit is different. Like for spoilage damage, stocks and machinery, it was 25 lakhs for Sookshma. Here it is double, it is 50 lakhs. Then what are the salient features? Same 14 perils are covered, including terrorism and earthquake. Here inbuilt covers are same, except stock on floater basis only for Sookshma policy, and startup expenses will be 5 lakhs for Laghu policy. For Sookshma they were 1 lakh. Inbuilt covers are which are already like those architect, surveyor, removal of debris, specific contents cover. Those are inbuilt covers. They are same for Sookshma and Laghu. Only the floater basis component is not there in the Laghu policy. It is there in the Sookshma policy, inbuilt. Floater basis can be given for this policy as well, but it is not an inbuilt cover. 16 exclusions, same for Sookshma and Laghu also, except the excess. For Griha Raksha, there was no excess. For Sookshma, 5,000. And for Laghu, it is 5% of claim amount, minimum of 10,000. And standard add-ons, standard policies for Laghu are the floater cover and the declaration policy. Yeah. Similarly, if the sum insured exceeds 50 crores or reduces below 5 crores, we won't immediately change the policy in standard fire policy because it is above 50 crores, and then it will switch back to Sookshma if it is below 5 crores. It will continue as a BLUS policy only till the expiry of policy period. And at the time of renewal, whatever is the sum insured, it will decide the policy to be opted. Here also, like earlier, Sookshma policy cancellation, if it's from the insured side, it will be pro rata plus 10%. And if it's from our side, only on the grounds of misrepresentation, non-disclosure of material facts, fraud or non-cooperation, and no refund will be given to the insured. Same 15 add-on covers, whatever were there in Sookshma policy also and Laghu policy. Only the limits are different. Now we will just have a small comparison of the three products, that is Griha, Raksha, Sookshma Udyam Suraksha, Laghu Udyam Suraksha, and the SFSP. So in SFSP, there was an option of either opting for market value or reinstatement value for building plant and machinery and other furniture fixture. However, in these policies, it is by default reinstatement or restoration, like we said. There is no option of market value basis. Second is the terminology. Reinstatement of sum insured was used in SFSP. For new products, it is restoration of sum insured. Earthquake was an exclusion in SFSP and an add-on. In Griha Raksha and all, it is inbuilt. New products. Architect surveyor fee, the limits are different. 3%, 1% was standard in SFSP. Here it is 5% and 2%. See, they have increased the limit also. Forest fire was an exclusion and add-on in SFSP. In the new products, along with forest fire, even jungle fire is covered. Then in SFSP, theft within 7 days. This aspect was not covered, which is now covered in the new products. In SFSP, loss of rent and alternative accommodation was an add-on, whereas in Griha Raksha, it is an inbuilt cover. Like it is there in the policy, insured has to let us know what is the sum insured is opting for in that. Escalation was an add-on in SFSP. Here, anyways, in Griha Raksha, we are giving an automatic increase in sum insured every year, every day as well. I think this part is repeated, the architect and surveyor fees part. So that's same, 3 and 1%, 5%, 2%. In SFSP, under insurance was strictly applicable. Here, there is not applicable. First of all, it's not applicable only for Griha Raksha, and for Sookshma and Laghu, it is up to 15%. It is waived off. In SFSP, aircraft damage was a separate peril. In new products, it is combined with impact damage. Similarly, now in the new products, we are covering the own fermentation, natural heating, and spontaneous combustion, which was a specific exclusion in the SFSP policy. Terrorism cover is now inbuilt in the new products. It was an exclusion in SFSP. Now, even the cancellation part is explained here. In SFSP, cancellation was allowed by both insured and insurer. However, in the new products, from insurer's point of view, we can't cancel unless it is on grounds of misrepresentation, non-disclosure, fraud, or non-cooperation by insurer. After these three products and SFSP comparison, what is the difference in the new products itself? Like there's a modification of flexi, like I said in BGR as well. Whenever flexi is mentioned, it is option of terrorism. So here in the BSUS, BLUS original products, all major covers are inbuilt, including fire, STFI, earthquake. In flexi, terrorism is the option which can be opted out. In the original products, there is no opt-out facility. Premium has to be paid. Like even if the insured doesn't want any cover, still the premium has to be paid. And in the flexi products, it is deducted. There's no force like covers which are enforced on the insured. The original products were designed as a comprehensive package for ease of coverage. But however, the flexi, along with comprehensive package, they even give the policyholder cost efficiency with choice. Like if he doesn't need those perils to be covered, he can remove them, he can opt out, and similarly, he'll be given the benefit of reduction in premium. Before we move on to IR, I think I'll just take a break of 5 minutes because I'm facing little throat issues. So is it fine if we meet back after 5 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Still
ma'am.
IR
Take your
and
time.
business interruption is
Okay,
still
ma'am.
left and some problems. So we'll just continue in 5 minutes. We'll resume in by 12:35. Okay. Yeah, 2 more minutes and we'll start. Huh? I request everyone to get back by then. Should we resume now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the slide visible?
Visible.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you everyone for bearing with me. I know I'm sounding hoarse. I'm trying my best to be audible enough. Yeah, so welcome back. After Griha, Raksha, Sookshma, and Laghu Udyam, we'll go to the IR policy, Industrial All Risk Policy. This is one of the old original policies in tariff regime. It was designed to cover industrial and manufacturing risk other than petrochemical tariff. There is even a petrochemical tariff other than the normal fire tariff. And earlier, it was having this condition of minimum sum insured of 100 crores at one or more location, which is not the case anymore. There's no criteria now for IAR policy. And it is to be noted that no IR policy is to be given to Section 3. Nowadays, from practical point of view, many times this policy is even given to Section 3 risk. However, now we are looking at the theoretical aspect. So for us, this policy can't be given for Section 3 risk. That is your hotels and your shops and your dwellings. Dwellings, of course. This is still an old policy, so even dwellings won't be given this cover. Wherever manufacturing goes on, there's production, there's output, there's turnover, IR is given. So the IR policy has two main sections. Material damage, which has material damage and MBD, breakdown cover. And section 2 is the business interruption part, the consequential loss part. Like what if there's a damage and the industry stops. So there's even financial loss which happens because of no production or less production. So that aspect is also covered under this policy. And the name itself says it's a wide risk. It's a all risk policy. So other than exclusion, what is specifically mentioned in the exclusions part, everything else will be covered. So we'll break down the sections further. In section 1, which covers the material damage, in short we call it MD, it is covers pertaining to fire and all special perils, whatever your SFSP policy covers, even burglary, machinery breakdown, boiler explosion, and electronic equipment insurance. So you can see the range of coverages it is providing in the first section itself. So it is kind of a comprehensive package policy in one, because even it is covering burglary, MBD, electronic and boiler part, not just fire perils. Section 2, that is business interruption. First is the fire loss of profit, which is compulsory, because other than this, it's just like a normal fire and, a package policy of different sections. So business interruption is must. And along with business interruption or FLOP, MLOP can be given as optional. Like FLOP is fire loss of profit, MLOP is machinery loss of profit. If there's any damage to machinery and because of which production gets affected and there is a consequential loss, it will be covered in MLOP. For FLOP, if claim other than machinery breakdown is admissible and under MD section. So if it's not related to machinery, if the claim is pertaining to any of the 3 sections, fire, burglary, machinery, and because of that there is a consequential loss claim, it will be admissible under MD section. So it will be admissible under the FLOP part of business interruption. And MLOP is only pertaining to the machinery loss of profit. So only because if there's a machinery breakdown, the loss of profit due to machinery breakdown will be covered under MLOP. So what are the salient features? Now, since MBD cover is also given in this policy, there are some aspects which are different in the normal MBD policy. So here, there is no depreciation deducted in the machinery breakdown claims, which is normally done in the MBD claims. Second, there is no overhauling warranty for turbines as attached to the customary MBD. Overhauling is kind of a maintenance activity, or after a particular number of hours, the machines or the turbines are being used, they have to be maintained again. There has to be some kind of maintenance to be done, or some again refurbishment needs to be done. So that warranty is not applicable here. Third and the most important point, selection of risk is not allowed in IAR. Because it is an all risk policy, since the benefits, the coverages are vast, you have to cover all aspects of your risk. Similarly, same thing is allowed in a customary machinery breakdown policy. There you can select what machines you want to cover, what you don't want to cover, what are your critical machinery, what are your normal machinery, which you can cover on your own books of account. So here in IAR, selection of machinery or selection of risk is not allowed. 100% machinery has to be covered without selection. Whether it's a small machine or a critical machinery, you have to cover everything in an IR policy. Yeah, when you're giving a all risk policy, of course, the excess applicable will also be higher. So here the excess is higher than the traditional machinery breakdown policy. Also, compared to the machinery breakdown policy, rate is low because there are so many other coverages being provided. The premium is mostly it is in lakhs and crores. It's not a small policy, small sum insured policy. So the rate is also comparatively low. Okay. Cost of piping and cabling may be removed for premium. Sometimes, some parts like pipes and all, they're sometimes removed from the machinery covered. They're covered for the fire peril, but for breakdown, sometimes they are not being considered. So there can be a difference between the plant and machinery sum insured and the machinery breakdown sum insured of the same policy. Yeah, so like I said, it's an all risk peril policy, which is only subject to the specific exclusions given. It is not a named peril policy like SFSP. Here, they won't enumerate each and every peril that is covered in the policy. However, it is understood that whatever is not mentioned in the exclusions is covered. Insurance is on reinstatement value basis and stock on market value basis, the basis of sum insured like any other fire policy. See, now under insurance, like I was saying, that was inbuilt in the IR policy and which was extended to Sookshma and Laghu products as well. So here they have given that condition that here in material damage section, the underinsurance is waived up to 15%. So in other ways, we are saying underinsurance will apply if sum insured is found to be below 85% of the reinstatement value. Like if the sum insured is below 85, as in you have not given covered to more than 15% of the risk, so it is underinsurance. So then this condition will apply. Till 15%, it is not applied. Terrorism coverage is optional and maximum it can be given up to 2,500 crores at any one location as per the pool norms, terrorism pool norms. Then there are many add-on covers in the business interruption section. So there are these add-on covers like suppliers, customers, premises, utility supplies, extension, which can be covered at an extra premium. There is this prevention of access and denial of access cover, which will be explaining in the next slides. So here in the policy, prevention of access is covered. Denial of access is not allowed. Denial is usually by a public authority. They are not allowing entry to the insured or the employees because of some government order. So when such instances are there, denial of access cover, we will not be able to give them. As in, we can't give this cover. However, prevention of access due to some insured peril, the road is blocked, there's some property damage at the entrance. So the person is not, the insured is not able to move into his premises. That is fine. That is prevention of access. But denial of access is usually by a government order. Next, marine part. Marine part does not mean the transit of risk like from one company to another. Transit of risk within the plant premises. It's very specific. Only between in the premises itself, if you're moving stock or plant and machinery from one building to another, it is covered. See, as per tariff, declaration facility is not available. However, as a market practice, nowadays declaration facility is also given in IR policies by attaching a declaration clause. But this is a marketing, I would say, facility, not exactly a theoretical facility which can be given. So we have to remember in IR, declaration facility is not given. Accidental physical loss or damage to property caused by peril not excluded. See, peril not excluded means whenever exclusion is not there, everything is covered. Whereas in SFSP, named peril policy, only if that peril is covered, then the loss is covered. So that's the IR is such a wide comprehensive cover. It's given only to reputable, valued clients. It should not be given to any clients where you're facing a lot of claim issues or like, there are no proper precautions taken by the insured. There should be good features in place. Yeah. Building plant machinery, cost of reinstatement or replacement, and stocks will be on market value basis. And it is always subject to the maximum sum insured. The insured should have taken the adequate sum insured, which is required to cover his premises. Now we move on to the exclusions. So yeah, there are two parts to these exclusions. There are excluded clauses and there are excluded articles or property also. So we are starting with the excluded clauses. So here, like in every policy, if there's any faulty or defective design or, the workmanship is at fault or there's an inherent vice or there's a normal wear and tear, that won't be covered. It's a gradual deterioration, you can say. It's a natural thing that will happen. So those aspects will not be covered in IR. Interruption of water supply, gas, electricity to and from the premises, that is excluded, but you will see ahead that in add-ons and all you can cover them. Next, it is excluded unless damage by a clause not excluded in policy ensues and the insurer shall be right. So if property is further damaged due to operation of an insured peril, ensuing damages, that is subsequent, alone shall be payable under the policy. That is, like there was this electrical risk also. We are saying that machine itself won't be covered, but the damages which take place because of those machine, the fire damage, that is covered. So here I've given one example where a portion of building is damaged due to defective design. Okay. Defective design anyways we don't cover. Subsequently, the entire building collapses due to a storm, which is not excluded in the policy. The insured will get a loss in ensuing damage due to storm and not for the design defect. So what we understand here is because of that storm, whatever later on the damages happen, those will be payable. But damages like, the building itself collapses because of the design defect, that is not payable. So the ensuing damage will be paid, but not the portion of the defective design. That we have to remember. Then collapse or cracking of buildings. That also is not payable under IAR. Corrosion, rust, change in temperature, shrinkage, evaporation, contamination. There are these many exclusions which are given. So we have to remember those terms. So in the exam, they can ask you, like shrinkage under IR policy is covered or is an add-on cover, is never covered. These options nowadays are getting very complicated. So we should be confirmed that it is not covered. It is in exclusions. They might even, like say it can be covered as an add-on. So don't go as per the market practice. Remember what is given in the tariff. Yeah. So unless such loss is caused directly by damage to property insured or premises containing such property by a cause not excluded in the policy. So now, for example, building develops cracks or part of the building collapses. Such losses are not paid unless these cracks or collapse are caused by the operation of earthquake, which is a peril that is not excluded under the policy. In this case, in the absence of an earthquake, loss would not be paid. See, earthquake is payable. It is covered peril, as in it is not in the exclusion. So it is caused because of earthquake. That's why the damage is payable. If it was on its own, if it was collapse, then it won't be payable. So the damage has to happen because of a peril which is not excluded. See, the wordings in SFSP were which damage has to be caused by an insured peril. Here it is, essence is same, but it is said that damage caused by peril which is not excluded, okay, in the policy. Larceny, acts of fraud or dishonesty. Larceny is kind of a theft only, but without any violent means. Like you give the person authorized entry in the premises and then the theft happens. Yeah, so this third point, disappearance unexplained, which was there in the Sookshma and Laghu policies also, if you remember, like the identification can't be done of the source, why it's happened, where it has disappeared. Shortage due to clerical or accounting error, inventory errors and all, those are not. Point D, coastal or river erosion, normal settlement or building down of new structure, that is also excluded. Then always these are the first exclusions in the new products. Willful act or willful negligence, cessation of work, delay or loss of market, or any consequential indirect. See, we are talking about the material damage section. That's why in this section, consequential or indirect loss of any kind will not be covered. It will be covered in the BI section. Same point, whatever. Damage occasionally directly linked by or through in consequence of any of the following occurrences, namely war perils, warlike operations. See, the word is warlike operations. Mutiny, civil commotion, military rising, rebellion, revolution, etc. not be covered. Then permanent or temporary dispossession resulting from nationalization, commanding. These are some political terms, when the government takes over or when sometimes there's anarchy as well. So, however, but this should be by any lawfully constituted authority. So basically, it's the government order, like they take over, it's some presidential rule or something. Then, permanent or temporary dispossession of any building resulting from unlawful occupation. Unlawful occupation also, we won't give cover to that. Destruction of property by order of public authority. That is also not covered. See, whenever government and their orders and their laws, regulation are involved, we will not be covering those. Damage directly, indirectly, caused or arising from in consequence by confiscation, with nuclear weapons, ionizing radiations, anything related to nuclear perils, we are excluded. The first part was the excluded clauses. That was A, and now B is excluded property. So for the first point, whenever there's anything to be covered involving money or your stamps and bonds, your bullion, your rare books, they are not covered unless specifically mentioned as insured by this policy. So basically, they have to be specifically mentioned. The sum insured should be considered. He must have paid additional premium for it. Then only this property will be covered. Same goes for goods held in trust. So this is an important thing. Whenever there are goods held in trust, the insured has to inform the company that so and so amount of goods are held in trust or on commission basis. So at the time of claim, there is not an issue, because there's no insurable interest of the insured in those goods. So he has to declare, like, I'm keeping them in my premises on behalf of someone and I'm liable to pay for the damages. Then vehicles licensed for road use, caravans, railway and all, these all were not covered. These properties also not covered. They should have their respective motor policy and so. Yeah, the marine, the transit part, again, they have said property in transit other than within the premises. So whenever they say other than, that means that part is covered. So whenever there is a transit within the premises from one block to another, it is covered in IR policy. Property or structures in course of demolition, construction, erection. See, for this, you have the engineering policies, CAR and AR. It will be covered in that, but not in the IR policy. Then land, including topsoil, dams, reservoirs, tunnels, docks, and all. These all should be, unless they're specifically covered by the insurer. But normally in factory premises, these all things won't be there. But if there is some exception, and there are some properties which are so huge, they even include all these properties, then the insured has to specifically declare it to them, pay the premium, consider them in the sum insured, and then we'll give the cover. Livestock, growing crop or trees. So living and all we don't cover, we only cover the property. Property damage as a result of undergoing any process, undergoing alteration, repairs. See, whenever there's any process going on, it is not covered in the testing, installation, servicing is all engineering point aspect. Those are covered in the engineering policies. So here in the IR policy, it won't be covered. Which more specifically insured, like property, it might be covered under some other policy, not here. So if it's not covered here, that is excluded. Property removed to any building, like the 60 days. Like we saw for machinery, if it's sent for repair, for maintenance, or stock. The last point here is damage to property at time of happening is insured by or would, for the existence of this policy, insured by any marine policy. So this condition was there in the 15 conditions of the SFSP policy as well. If there is a marine policy in place for the same property, marine policy will trigger first, and whatever is the balance loss will be payable by the fire policy or IR policy. So marine policy always takes precedence in such instances. Now exclusions to section 2, that is business interruption or consequential loss. Any restrictions on reconstruction imposed by public authority, government order, that we can't do anything about. Second is lack of sufficient capital, that is, bankruptcy, and he's not able to get it restored, and also that is not our lookout. So it's excluded under the IAR. Loss of business due to causes such as suspension, lapse, or cancellation of lease license. These are all which is they are in insured's control, and also he should look after it. So we are not liable, so that is an exclusion. Damage to boilers, turbines resulting from the explosion or rupture, that is covered in the boiler policy. It is not covered in the section 2. It is covered in section 1 part. Electronic installations, computers, whatever are these material damages, they are covered in the first section and not in the business interruption section. Damage resulting from deliberate erasure, distortion, corruption, or information computer system and all, that is not covered. Unless caused by damage to the machine or apparatus in the which the records amount. So basically that machine has to be damaged because of which there is a consequential loss of deliberate erasure and all, then it is covered in this section. And the last is mechanical or electrical breakdown. See, for exclusions number 1.4, that is damage to boilers and all, are deleted if MLOP is opted for, because in machinery loss of profit, all these damages will get covered. Next, we move on to the concept of probable maximum loss, or in short, we call it PML. Probable maximum loss is the highest loss you can imagine that can happen in the premises. It will be the highest sum insured of material damage section, excluding MBD. See, material damage has even MBD, but when we calculate the PML, it is only material damage section. Material damage section and the business interruption, PD plus BI. Even your internal company circulars might be mentioning loss, like, to decide the acceptance authority also, it will be PD plus BI. PD is nothing, property damage, which is material damage. So when you issue a policy and if your head office or someone asks for the PML, this table gives you how to inform the PML for an IR policy, for any kind of fire policy as well. For it, 100% of sum insured has to be taken. There you can't decide only 10% of sum insured or 50%. 100% of the material damage or business interruption sum insured, both of them together has to be taken. And depending on that, PML is calculated. So up to 500 crores, the PML is 100% sum insured basis. Like if MD is 50 crores, business interruption is 50 crores, PML is also 100 crores, 50 plus 50. But slowly as the sum insured increases, which is greater than 500 and up to 1500. Suppose material damage is 100 crores. So the whole 100 crores of material damage won't be considered for PML. It will be 60% only. So out of 100, 60 crores plus whatever is the sum insured of business interruption. As we go higher, 1500 to 3500 crores, 40% of MD. Suppose 100 crores is MD sum insured, 40%, that is 40 crores of material damage sum insured will be taken as PML plus BI 100%. See, in the whole table, BI is always going to be 100%. There you can't select. There's no selection of percentage. Whereas MD, the higher you go, the percentage goes on decreasing. The probability of loss goes on decreasing. That's it. So the highest is 3,500 to 10,000 crores. That will be only 30% of material damage sum insured and 100% of BI. So I have given one example also. Suppose the top location sum insured for building, plant, machinery and stock, that is the material damage sum insured, is 1,300 crores. So if you check the table, 1,300 crores falls in the second bracket of 500 to 1,500. And MBD is 200 crores. See, this is just given to confuse you. There is no use of MBD sum insured in the PML calculation. But just because it's given, you might think, okay, 1,300 plus 200 I should do. No. MD section only has to take, not machinery breakdown sum insured. And FLOP is 300 crores and MLOP sum insured is again given to confuse us. So here we will calculate material damage section and FLOP section. That is 1300 crores and 300 crores. That will become 1600 crores. So if you check the table, 1600 crores falls in the third category. That is 1500 to 3500 crores. So PML will be 40%. See, 40% of MD and 100% on BI. So 40% of 1300, that is material damage sum insured, plus 300. So total will be 820 crores. So you have to see both material damage sum insured and business interruption sum insured in total. Not just material damage and not just BI. Both of them together, and then you have to see under which category they fall. Now slowly we are moving on to the comparison. So IR section is done. We are just going to look at how the traditional policies were there and why IR was kind of different from the traditional policies. If you see the coverage, earlier there were separate policies. Whatever is covered in IR, you had those coverages, but in different policies like SFSP, burglary, business interruption, electronic equipment. But IR is a single document policy. It is easy for the insurer as well as the insured to have a single policy document covering all these policies. Perils covered. Traditional policies were named perils policies, except machinery breakdown. That is also kind of an all risk. But other than that, burglary or fire policy, you have those perils and only those perils are covered. IR is covering all risk nature, except for the excluded perils. Options for coverage are there. In the traditional policies, insured could choose only the specific covers and even choose the machinery they wanted to cover. Like we said, in IR, there's no selection of risk or selection of machinery allowed. The total location, entire property at the location has to be insured. Selection can't be done. Even there's a difference in the basis of sum insured. So in the traditional policies, it can be reinstatement or market value. However, in IR, it has to be on reinstatement value basis only, except for stock portion. Stock portion will be always be on the market value. Because in older policies, the traditional ones, even building and all could be decided on market value or reinstatement value. But in IR, just like the new fire products of Griha, Raksha, Sookshma and Laghu, it has to be on reinstatement value basis only. Then condition of average. For the traditional policies, there was strict application of the condition. Like even if there's 5% under insurance, that condition would apply. However, in IR, up to 15%, like the new products, 15% under insurance is waived. Even comparatively, the excess for traditional policies, excess was nominal. You might remember the figures of 5,000 or 5% of claim amount. But in IR, the excess is comparatively higher, of course, because the coverages are wide. The losses will be, the quantum of loss will be higher. That's why it's necessary to have higher deductible in place. Now, talking of excess, this is just a chart. You can kind of, just keep somewhere it in the back of your head. Okay, this chart is there available for the IR policy. Because here you have not just excess of the material damage section, but even FLOP and MLOP. So for sum insured, see, like I was saying, PD plus BI, property damage and business interruption sum insured is taken together for the location. Up to 100 crores. This condition of 5% of claim amount will remain the same. FLOP excess will remain the same for the other than petrochemical risk. And for petrochemical risk also, it will remain the same for 14 days. MLOP is the only part where above 2,500 crore risk, the excess is 21 days of standard gross profit, SGP. Slowly for material damage, the amount increases 5 to 10, 10 to 25, and 25 to 50. But for FLOP, it stays constant. But other than petrochemical risk, excess will be always 7 days. And for petrochemical risk, it will be 14 days. Now, after those standard excesses, there was some specialized risk where losses were happening frequently, or the quantum was so huge that there needed to be revision in excess. So for these kind of specialized risks, the excess is a bit higher than the normal excess which was given in the earlier slide. So what are these specialized risks? Power plants, excluding wind and solar plants, means your hydropower plant or a thermal power plant, where the top location sum insured is above 500 crores. See, your sum insured is always MD plus BI, and top location is the highest risk location, where the sum insured is the maximum. Then your steel plants, the fertilizer plants, petrochemical plants. See, these are all big plants. So the risk is huge. So that's why the material damage claim amount, that percent remains the same, 5% of claim amount. But if you see the minimum, now it has come into crores, 1.25 crores. FLOP and MLOP excess is also different. 30 days of standard gross profit and MLOP is 45 days. Earlier, the maximum was 21 days for MLOP. However, here for these specialized risks, the FLOP also has increased 30 days and 45 days for MLOP. Similarly, for chemical and plastics, above 500 crores top location, deductible remains 5% of claim amount and minimum 1.25 crores. They have not given of FLOP and MLOP excess for this. That is the standard one. Now, after IR, we are moving to business interruption, a specific FLOP policy. Actually, FLOP is already a part of IR also, but there are many concepts which you need to understand. So when there are sums on BI or consequential loss or loss of profit, so once you understand these concepts, you will be able to answer them. What is business interruption basically? When there's a physical loss or damage to property which is already insured in the standard fire policy, and that causes a total or partial stoppage of production activity. Of course, if there's damage, you can't continue the production activity. There will be either reduction in the production capacity, or there's even a complete shutdown. That will lead to what? Reduction in sales turnover. Production is affected, turnover will be affected. Then any loss of gross profit suffered during the interruption period shall be payable. So we are not paying everything. We are just paying the loss of gross profit. So gross profit is the key term which will be paying for business interruption policy. There is this proviso in the business interruption policy, which is important, that we'll pay only the loss which is payable and admissible under the material damage policy. See, now this policy we are seeing as an individual policy. In IR, once it's already the loss is there in material damage section and production is affected, business interruption section covers it. But if it's an FLOP standalone policy, there has to be a material damage policy in place, and the loss should be admissible and triggered there first. Then only this policy will come into picture and the loss will be payable. That's why, as per the material damage proviso, loss under the MD policy must be admissible. Then only it will be admissible in the BI policy. Are you able to see the slides, or is there still some problem? I think someone is trying to write, I think.
It's visible.
We are able to see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the flow chart below explains MD policy, admissible loss. There's an interruption in the production process, because of which there's a reduction in turnover, and ultimately there's a loss in gross profit. So what are the losses we cover? That is loss of profit during indemnity period and increased cost of working. Increased cost of working to avoid business interruption loss. So these terms are explained in the further slides. What is indemnity period? Indemnity period is beginning with the occurrence of the damage and ending not later than months as defined in the policy. So in simple terms, or it is even the date when the business resumes pre-accident. Just one moment. Yeah. So the first point is saying ki suppose the loss happens today. Okay. And in the policy I have said ki I want the cover for 3 months. So today the loss happens. The indemnity period will be 3 months from today. So the cover for that loss will be only for 3 months. Or when the business resumes pre-accident levels of production. See, he told me that I'm taking the cover for 3 months, but he was able to start his business in 2 months itself. From today, today loss happened, and in 2 months his factory was up and running. So his actual indemnity period will be 2 months only, because the condition is whichever is earlier. Either those 3 months, whatever he utilizes, which was given in the policy, or earlier, whichever when he starts the factory up and running. Had it been after 4 months, then we will pay only 3 months indemnity, because he said I'll cover only 3 months as the indemnity period. So whichever is the earlier part, that will be our indemnity period. Fixed expenses or standing charges. These terms will be again and again seeing in the business interruption policies. So these are expenses that remain unchanged. Whatever happens, these charges have to be paid, irrespective if you're having your seasonal high production levels or low production levels, whatever might be the case. But these you have to pay irrespective of that. So those are your rents, your taxes, your minimum demand charges, power charges, repairs, maintenance, royalty, etc. Against these standing charges, there are variable expenses or manufacturing costs, which will vary with production level. When there is high production, you will need high inputs, so more expenses. When there is low, less expenses, or there's no production, no expenses. So it's dependent on the production levels. So this will be a material cost. Of course, your production is stopped. There's no use in ordering more material. So your production and your inputs will stop. Then these are even your direct expenses, power. If the production is not going on, there's no use of electricity. So these expenses are variable. And even there are semi-variable expenses. So sometimes even power, labor cost. These can be categorized. Sometimes, even if the production is less, but still you have to pay them some labor cost, just shifting of stock from here to there or something. So there are semi-variable expenses as well. Now, what is gross profit? Gross profit is the amount by which sales turnover exceeds the manufacturing cost. See, profit is basically when your turnover is higher than whatever input and your, the capital you're spending. So here, the gross profit is when your sales turnover, when your selling capacity is exceeding the manufacturing cost. Whatever you're investing is less than whatever you're selling. So you're making a profit. So that is the gross profit. What is gross loss is the opposite. Sales turnover is not sufficient to meet the manufacturing cost. You're not even able to meet whatever input cost with your investment. There's no margin only. Whatever you're investing, it's going totally in the manufacturing cost itself. So that and shortfall. Sometimes you're not even able to meet the bare minimum of the production cost. That is gross loss. And for gross loss, we never give an LOP policy. So that's why we always ask for 3 years gross profit, or those statements, audit statements and all of the company before deciding to give a business interruption policy. So if you see there's only loss on the books, you will not give this policy, because this policy itself is covering profit, fire loss of profit, and in profit also gross profit is being covered. So if there's loss, you don't have to give this policy. You can't give this policy rather. So yeah, then later on, there's turnover. What is turnover? Is net profit. Net is something which is deducted, like after deductions, whatever is remaining is the net. So out of gross profit, you remove the fixed cost and all, then you get the net profit. So that's why your turnover is net profit plus fixed cost plus variable cost. That is your turnover. Gross profit is your turnover minus variable cost. So basically, you're trying to say gross profit is your turnover minus your variable cost, and turnover is your net profit and fixed cost and variable cost. Gross profit is your standing charges and net profit. So these are few formulas. You can remember them. I've given some examples of sums also in the next few slides. So we are checking the sum insured now. What is the sum insured to be taken by the insured? It is the estimated annual gross profit duly adjusted as per the trend. This trend term is important because you have to know what is the trend of the company, at what rate the company is making profit. And always standing charges alone should not be covered. It is always profit and the standing charges. Never standing charges alone. For policies with a 12-month indemnity period or less. Now the insured might say, I just want an indemnity period of 6 months or 9 months. The sum insured for the policy will always be the annual gross profit. That won't be proportionate to the number of months. However, when the indemnity period is more than 12 months, okay, if it's 18 months or 24 months or 36 months, their sum insured has to be increased proportionately. So for non-manufacturing risk, it is 36 months. Suppose it's an office, so that you can give to 36 months only. And for manufacturing risk, it is 24 months only. Okay. So remember one thing, if it's below 12 months, 12 month only, that is annual gross profit has to be taken. If it's more than 12 months, proportionately, it will be taken. So normally they take at least by 6 months, figure. So it will be 18 months will be 1.5 times of annual, or 24 months will be twice the annual, 30 months 2.5 times, so on. So what are the types of turnover? This whole thing is based on your turnover, your gross profit. So the term financial turnover is the turnover during the financial year of the risk. So financial year is from April to March. So whatever is the turnover of that risk will be from the April to March. Whatever will be the policy period. The policy period inception date in which year it falls, that is the financial year of the risk. Second is the annual turnover. Annual turnover is defined as the turnover during 12 months immediately before the date of damage. So just an example. Today loss happens. Today is December 20th. So annual turnover will be from December 21st to December 20th, 2024. For 1 year, sorry, not 24, 20, till yesterday, sorry. I'm making a mistake. Annual turnover is 12 months immediately before. So what? Till yesterday is the annual turnover. 12 months from yesterday. Okay. And this is used in computing the adequacy of sum insured. So slowly when we move to the sums part, you'll come to know, you'll get a clear picture. So just remember, annual turnover is starting from yesterday, whatever 12 months are. Standard turnover, just remember that standard means parameter. We are going to compare it with something. So standard turnover is generated during the period in the previous financial year before the date of loss, which corresponds with the indemnity period. So now loss happened today. It will take, suppose, for example, 1 month. That is, let's say December month is the indemnity period. So your standard turnover for December month last year in 2024 will be the standard turnover for the indemnity period. Getting it, hopefully. Annual turnover is from yesterday, 12 months backwards. Standard turnover is the period in previous financial year before the date of loss. Suppose loss happens in December, the period before December, that 1 month, is the corresponding indemnity period of last year. And for calculation of the business growth, like the trend, you have to subtract the financial year turnover from the annual turnover, divided by the financial turnover into 100%. ATO minus financial year turnover divided by the financial year turnover, because you're comparing it with the financial year turnover. That's why the denominator will be financial year turnover into 100. I know you'll need some time to get used to these terms. That's why examples are given later on. Slowly you'll come to know. Rate of gross profit. Rate of gross profit earned on the turnover during the financial year immediately before the date of damage. That is gross profit divided by financial year turnover. See, earlier also it was divided by financial year, because you can compare the rate by the financial year turnover only. So here example is given that financial year turnover was 100 crores. Okay. And gross profit is 10 crores. In that financial year where the turnover was 100 crores, 10 crores was the gross profit. So what was the percentage or the rate? That is 10 divided by 100 into 100 is 10%. So the profit was increasing at the rate of 10% every year for that risk. Next term which is important is increase in cost of working, ICOW. What it is, in simple words, it's the additional expenditure reasonable and necessarily incurred with the sole intention to avoid or minimize the reduction in turnover and to mitigate the loss of gross profit. The insured is taking some actions, some steps to minimize the reduction in turnover. Maybe he is using some additional machinery, or he has called in some additional labor, or he has, bought some new machines or something. And because of which there is, the reduction in turnover, had it not been the case, if he had not put in these extra steps, would have been higher. He's saving on that. He's trying to reduce the loss. So that is his increased cost of working. He's working towards reducing the quantum of loss. So those charges are also payable because he is trying to reduce the loss, like how loss minimization, we cover. Similarly here, he is trying to take the steps to reduce the loss, because of which there is an increase in cost of working. He has to put in some capital, to kind of bring back to the original position. So those kind of charges will be payable. See, limited to the loss of gross profit thereby avoided, which is known as the economy limit. So this is the limit where, at how he saved all that loss. So that is the economy limit, which is the loss of gross profit he avoided. That is the economy limit. If the gross profit, loss of gross profit, suppose it would have been 100, but because he took the steps, it reduced to 50 crores only. Okay. If he had not taken these steps, the loss of gross profit was going to go up to 100 crores, but he spent some amount and he brought down the loss to 50 crores only. So that is the economy limit, because of which that loss was avoided. So limit of increased cost of working is rate of gross profit into reduction in turnover thereby avoided. For example, see, increased cost of working, whatever he spent was 10 crores. Rate of gross profit at which the profit is making is 10%. So he saved off 50 crores. Like I was saying, 100 crores and he saved 50 crores. So his economy limit is turnover that is saved, that is 50 crores into 10, the rate of gross profit divided by 100, that is 5 crores. Okay. So here he said he spent 10 crores. He took steps worth of 10 crores. He added some machinery or something. But as per our calculation, his economy limit, he saved only 50 crores of the turnover and the rate of gross profit was 10%, he is eligible only for 5 crores and not 10 crores. He spent extra. He could have saved, he could have reduced the amount in 5 crores itself. But he spent 10 crores to reduce the loss. Okay. Or in other words, you can say that 10 crores mein he could save only 50 crores. He could have gone beyond that also. So our liability is restricted to 5 crores only. That is the economy limit. We won't give him everything, whatever he puts in, to reduce the loss. There is a limit, like reasonable amount. That reasonable amount in this example is 5 crores. We will be eligible to pay only 5 crores to him. Then, of course, average clause, wherever sum insured has to be taken, and you have to see if the sum insured is appropriately and proportionately decided. So, if the estimated sum insured of the policy is found to be less than the sum insured required to be insured, admissible loss under the policy is reduced proportionately under insurance condition, basically. So, under insurance factor is whatever sum insured he declared divided what should have been actually the sum insured declared into 100. That will be the percentage. So, here, for FLOP policy, sum insured required to be insured is rate of gross profit. See, everything depends on gross profit. And rate tells you at what percentage the profit is increasing. So, rate of gross profit into annual turnover into indemnity period. Because he's telling us also for how many years. Now, in this calculation, it is years and not months. Okay. So, indemnity period is for how many years he is taking the cover for. It can be 1 year, it can be 2 years also. So, rate into annual turnover. Annual is 12 months from the date of loss, like from yesterday, into indemnity period. So, loss payable is admissible loss into the under insurance factor. So, let's say the sum insured of business interruption is 6 crores. Financial year turnover was 100 crores. Rate of gross profit was 6%. It was increasing at 6%. Annual turnover is 120 crores. The annual turnover and financial turnover are different. Okay. Indemnity period is 1 year only. So, first we will check whether the sum insured was adequately taken. So, rate of gross profit into annual turnover into indemnity period in years. So, his rate of gross profit was 6%. Annual turnover is 120%. And indemnity he has opted for 1 year only. So, as per this calculation, the figure comes up to 7.2 crores. Whereas if you see, he has taken the BI sum insured of 6 crores. So, it is under insurance. So, that is more than 6 crores. That is the GP sum insured. Here, under insurance will apply by a factor of proportionately 6 by 7.2. Similarly, under insurance in case of increased cost of working. If all standing charges are not insured under the policy, then under insurance will be applicable. See, like when he is declaring the standing charges, he shouldn't select, okay, these are the standing charges to be covered in the policy. This do not need to be covered. He has to take all the standing charges. So for ICOW, how under insurance factor will work is net profit plus insured standing charges. That is the gross profit divided by net profit plus all standing charges. What is the difference? Insured standing charges is what the insured has declared to us. They can be the same. If he is right about the sum insured and he has declared it right, then it's not under insurance. But if he has declared less, so is insured standing charges divided by all standing charges. At the time of loss, we'll ask him for the standing charges and we'll come to know that whatever he insured in the beginning is less. That's why we'll come to know it as under insurance. So, and ultimately, net paid amount. See, we saw that economy limit sum insured before. Like, even if you put so much money, still whatever profit loss he saved, that will be our maximum limit. So, their net paid amount will be cost of working bracket subject to economy limit. Whatever will be the maximum payable into underinsurance factor. See, the example is given below. The cost of working is 10 crores. Economy limit is 8 crores. He spent more than his economy limit. He spent unnecessarily, I would say. He could have, we paid only 8, we are payable only 8 crores. Net profit is 10 crores and all standing charges 20 crores, whereas he underinsured the standing charges only 15 crores. Okay, he should have covered 20 crores. So now the net ICOW will be paid is, of course, the economy limit, what is our liability for the ICOW, into. Now we are finding the ratio of the net standing charges, which he insured and which he didn't insure. So total is economy limit into net profit plus insured standing charges, insured, whatever he declared, divided by net profit plus all standing charges, which should have been the sum insured, actual sum insured, is equal to 8. 8 crores is the economy limit into 10 is the net profit plus insured standing charges of 50, which he declared, divided by 10 is the net profit. Same figure for both. Only difference is the all standing charges, that is 20 crores. So you see the ratio is as per the proportionately, the 8 crores 8 crores would have been his claim if there was no underinsurance. It has now reduced to 6.67 crores. Underinsurance will always be applicable. Next is the policy excess for an FLOP policy. So for whenever there's consequential loss, there's always time excess. Okay, it was there in IR also, it was time excess. So compulsory time excess is minimum 7 days of standard gross profit, and excess amount is 7 days of standard turnover into rate of gross profit. So see, when you say 7 days of standard gross profit, what does it mean? So 7 days of standard turnover into rate of gross profit. So suppose your standard turnover is 100 crores and your rate of gross profit is 6% and your indemnity period is 6 months or 180 days. Since these are calculated in days, we have to give the figure also in, as in we have to consider the calculation also in days only, since 7 days is the figure. Okay. So excess amount is 7, that is 7 days of gross profit into 100, that is the standard turnover, into 6, that is the rate of gross profit, divided by 180 days into 100. 100 is because 6%, na, that percent 100 has come down. So that will be the excess amount, that is 0.23 crores. Let me explain again. See, 7 days of standard turnover. What is the turnover? 100. 7 days. So 7 into 100 into 6. 6 is the rate of gross profit. So 6 divided by 180 is the indemnity period. 6 months into 100. 100 is again the 6%. So that 6 divided by 100 comes down 100. That becomes 0.23 crores. In BI policy, there are add-on covers as per the tariff. Now, practically, there are hundreds of add-on covers available for IAR, for SFSP, and I think there are many circulars internal also in all companies. However, as per tariff, there are these standard add-on covers for business interruption policy, that is suppliers premises extension. When there is loss of gross profit at insured's premises due to interruption in production, loss is always due to interruption in production, but out of stoppage of supply of raw material caused by an accident at the supplier's premises by Flexa and AOG perils. So basically the loss is not happening in the insured's premises. It is happening at the insured's supplier's premises. But our insured's whole production is depending on supply only. Na? If he doesn't get the raw material, how is he going to produce? So that is also an add-on cover. We are covering a third-party location. We are covering as in third-party location as in the loss happening because of damage at a third party. So here, if the supplier's premises are damaged, there is some accident by Flexa or AOG perils. Not all perils. See, it's only because of Flexa and AOG perils. Because of that only, if there is stoppage of production, there is interruption, that loss can be given as an add-on cover. as suppliers premises. No coverage for second tier supplier. See, suppliers premises is only a direct supplier. Maybe he is taking that supplier is getting his goods from somewhere else, and there's some there's some loss or something. So that we are not covering. We are only covering loss of interruption of production because of damage at our immediate supplier's premises. Okay. Same thing with customer's premises extension. Business losses suffered by insured caused by non-acceptance of supplies by customer as a result of stoppage of production activities due to operation of flags and AOG perils at customer's premises. What has happened here is you have made the goods, but he is not able to accept because there's loss at customer's premises. So he's saying that there's damage at my place, there is no place for me to keep. So because of that, you have stopped the production because he's not ready to take the goods. So that's why this also can be covered. And same thing, just like no coverage for second tier supplier, there is no coverage for second tier customer. Like you are giving it to wholesaler, he will in turn give it to a retailer. So we are not going to cover just because retailer is saying I can't take it, keep it at wholesaler. Wholesaler is giving it back to us. That we won't cover. We will only cover our direct customer. That is the wholesaler. Just for example, I'm saying. Yeah. Then failure of electric supply. That is FOES. This term is asked in exam. What does FOES stand for? I had explained in the SFSP presentation as well. It is failure of electric supply. So this also, if there's failure of electric supply at terminal ends of the electricity service feeder, that is at the substation. However, the damage should have happened because of an insured peril, and because of which there is a failure of electric supply at our premises, at the insured premises, that is also covered. See, here also it is restricted only to the last leg of power supply. If it's a substation, it is deriving its power supply from some other bigger station. That gets damaged or there's some issue there, and that's why there is failure. We are not going to cover. We are only covering the immediate terminal supplier at our end. Then prevention of access. See, earlier I had said prevention of access is given, denial of access cover is not given. So prevention of access is cessation, interruption, interference, or inhabitation of the business as a consequence of physical destruction or damage of property belonging to insured or property within a radius of 5 km from the insured premises that prevents or hinders the use or use of access to the premises. See, if there is some there is some entry gate, the entry gate is damaged. Because of that, it's it prevents the entry of employee into the workplace or the insured into their premises. So that is a prevention of access. So that we covered. See, the radius is also given of up to 5 km. For these huge factories, there are many buildings through which they have to pass, or like the connection is the network of connection is so vast. Even if one part is damaged, it's not accessible to the premises are not accessible. So that's why this prevention of access covers will cover that kind of loss as well. And last is the auditor's fees, because gross profit and all this calculation, preparation of the documents and all, the auditor is in charge of. So whatever goes in the claim preparation, like the auditor's fees, that is paid in the these add-on covers. So with this, actually, the presentation part of the FLOP and IR is covered. So just for for you to understand, I have taken few sums of the business interruption and gross profit. Okay. So here the simple sums like the turnover is 1 crore and variable charges and standing charges are given. We have to find out the net profit and the gross profit. So net profit is turnover minus variable and minus standing charges. So here out of 1 crore, 60 lakhs and
Slide is not
30
visible.
lakhs are gone. Achha, slide is not visible. Is it visible now?
No. Yeah. It's visible now.
Visible. Okay. The first sum I was talking about, turnover is 1 crore, variable charges are 60 lakhs and standing charges are 30 lakhs. So net profit, net is like the lowest, like you can get the profit from is after deducting all the charges. So 1 crore minus 60 minus 30 lakhs. So 10 lakhs is the net profit. What is the gross profit? Gross profit is net profit and standing charges. That is, your net profit is 10 lakhs plus standing charges 30 lakhs. So that is gross profit. Net is removing all kinds of charges. Gross is still taking the standing charges along with the net profit. Second is the turnover before fire was 50 lakhs. Standing charges were 10 lakh. Net profit was 5 lakh. Turnover after fire reduced to 25 lakhs only. See, earlier it was 50 lakhs. It has now reduced to 25 lakhs. Calculate loss payable. Now, in the earlier sum, we saw gross profit is net profit and standing charges. So first, we'll always find out the gross profit. Gross profit here is net profit, that is 5 lakhs plus standing charges, that is 10 lakhs. So 15 lakhs is the gross profit. Rate is always divided by the turnover and into, it's a percentage. So it will be into 100. So rate of gross profit is gross profit divided by turnover into 100. So we found out in the first step, gross profit is 15 lakhs divided by the turnover before fire. It's not after fire. You're finding the rate. Rate is like what was the trend before loss happened. So 15 lakh divided by 50 lakhs into 100. So rate of gross profit will be applied on the reduced turnover. Okay. Rate you found out was 30%. I think this thing is left out of it, 30% only. So now you're finding out the reduced turnover. What will be the loss payable? So turnover after fire, that is 25 lakhs into rate we found out, 30%. So payable loss is 7,50,000. Okay, we'll apply the rate on whatever was the reduced turnover. That is the loss payable. For that, you need to know the rate of gross profit and then you apply it on the reduced turnover. Next is this is one more example now. Turnover during last financial year was 12 lakh. Gross profit, that is the sum insured, is 3 lakhs. Period of indemnity, 12 months. Annual turnover is from yesterday, 1 year. Standard turnover is that indemnity period turnover. Annual turnover is 16 lakhs, standard turnover is 10 lakhs. And turnover during interruption period, from the day loss happened, interruption period is 4 lakhs. So like I said, always we have to first find the rate of gross profit. Okay. So here rate of gross profit is gross profit, that is 3 lakh divided by financial year, last financial year, because we are finding out what was the trend. So 3 divided by 12 into 100, that is 25%. So 25% growth was like, it's the expected gross profit every year. Now, after rate of gross profit, we'll find out what was the shortage in the turnover. Where has how it has reduced? So shortage is turnover is standard turnover less actual turnover in indemnity period. Standard turnover is now whatever is the turnover this year, that is 10 lakhs minus whatever, including the loss period, whatever happened last year. Standard turnover less actual turnover in indemnity period. See, there was loss. So turnover has reduced. So till last year in December month, the turnover was supposed 10 lakhs. Okay. Now it has reduced to 4 lakhs only. So there is a loss of 6 lakhs. So the shortage is 6 lakhs of turnover. Then the rate of gross profit has to be applied on the reduction of turnover, like we saw in the earlier sum as well. So 6 lakhs reduction is there. So your gross profit rate of 25% will be applicable on the reduced turnover, whatever was reduced. So 25% of 6 lakhs is 1.5 lakhs. That is the amount payable. But is this the last step? Are we sure that the sum insured he had taken was correct? No. So before paying the loss, we will find out whether the sum insured taken was right or not. See, he has taken gross profit sum insured of 3 lakh. Now we have arrived at the amount payable, 1.5 lakh. But under insurance factor will always come into picture. So now we will check whether sum insured was correctly taken or not. So we apply the rate of gross profit on annual turnover. 25% of annual turnover. Annual turnover is 16 lakhs. Okay. Had there been no loss, on 16 lakhs, 25% should have increased for this year as well. So 25% of 16 lakhs is 4 lakhs. So ideally, he should have taken the sum insured of 4 lakh, but he has taken only 3 lakhs. That means there is under insurance. He has taken lesser sum insured. So now this whole under insurance factor will be applied on the loss payable as well. If we had taken adequate sum insured, our 1.5 amount, whatever we arrived at, was the final amount payable. But now we realize he has taken lesser sum insured. So that factor now will be applied on the loss, and ultimately the loss payable will be 1,12,500. Okay, so first always we have to find rate of gross profit, find out how much has the turnover reduced, apply that rate of gross profit on the reduced turnover, and find out whether sum insured is adequately taken or not. We move on to the last computation and the last rather example for today's lecture also. This is a bit complicated, but if you go through the sum like 3 or 4 times, you'll slowly understand what is going on in the sum and how are we arriving at the values. I have tried to give you step-by-step guidance for this sum, but it is a bit complicated. For people who are not good with numbers, you have to just go and understand the logic behind every step. Then you can calculate it. So these sums which we saw till now were, comparatively simple sums. So now we'll be finding out, solving sums involving the increased cost of work, the actual turnover, reduction turnover, standing charges, average clause, and everything will be incorporated in the next sum. So these are the basic steps for computation of business interruption. First is we have to find out the interruption period for which the insurers are liable to pay loss. You should know what is the indemnity period we are going to be indemnifying the insured for. Second is find the estimated turnover that the insured would have produced had the loss not taken place. To find this out, you'll have to apply trends. Trends is what is the fashion, what is the, trend is the likelihood, the nature of how the profit is increasing, Trend, adjustment, and other circumstances on standard turnover to arrive at the most reasonable figure. Okay, standard turnover. You have to apply the trends on the standard turnover. Then find the actual turnover the insured has generated during the indemnity period. See, what is the actual turnover is once the loss happens, actual turnover must have reduced or it must have gone down completely. It can be nil also. Next, the rate of gross profit has to be applied on this reduction in turnover. See, for all the sums before also we saw, the rate of gross profit has to be applied on the reduction in turnover to derive the loss of gross profit. Okay. After all this gross profit rate and the loss is found out, we have to add the increased cost of working. See, we are calculating the claim, what we are going to pay to the insured. So we are going to pay his loss, whatever loss of gross profit he incurred, and whatever he charges whatever charges he paid to reduce that loss also. So that is your ICOW, increased cost of working. So on ICOW also you will apply UI, that is under insurance. If all standing charges are not insured. So you have to see that also, whether all standing charges were insured or the selection was done. Then reduce savings and standing charges. Sometimes savings are given. These standing charges were saved, so and so. So that we will deduct because he himself has saved them. He has not spent. He has not given those standing charges. So those are reduction during the maximum indemnity period. Then apply average clause under insurance. That will be applicable always in any sum. And then finally apply the policy deductible. Which will be 7 or 14 days of standard gross profit as defined in the policy. Once you understood these steps, we are going to the sum. The sum, if you see step by step, you'll come to know it. Okay, you'll understand it. Now they have given us this whole information, this whole data on which we have to solve. So first, we'll go step by step. Policy sum assured, gross profit, whatever the insured has declared. Okay, it is 80 crores with an indemnity period of 15 months. This is from the insured's side. He has given us this data. Then policy period is 1st April to 31st March 2017 to 18, which is matching with the financial year. Because like I said, April to March is the financial year. So he has taken policy period of 1st April 17 to 31st March 18. Now, date of loss is 15 September 2017. Yes, it falls in under the policy period. Yeah, policy period is 17 to 18. 15 September 2017, date of loss falls in the policy period. And date of recovery. Date of recovery is when he resumed the operations. That is 14th June 2018. That is next year. If you see, it is even beyond the policy period. So if you see, the indemnity period is 9 months from 15 September to 14 June. Indemnity period is 9 months. And what has he taken? 15 months. So yes, it is admissible. He has told us before only, I need an indemnity period of 15 months. To start my company, I'll at least need 15 months. And he has started his company in 9 months itself. Lesser than what he opted for in the beginning. Now, standard turnover. Standard turnover is turnover during. Standard is what? Parameter. Same period of date of loss. Okay. Standard turnover during 15 September 2016 to 14 June 2017. That is, see, the date of loss is 15 September and date of recovery is 14 June. Same corresponding period in the previous year. Okay. Same corresponding period in the previous year is the standard turnover, 250 crores. Now we move to annual turnover. Like I said, annual turnover is 12 months from yesterday. So here, turnover during 15 September 2016 to 14 September 2017. So luckily in this case, both the periods are same. Okay, the loss, sorry, not both the periods are not same, I'm sorry. Annual turnover is from 15 September. The loss, as in the date is 15 September is same because standard is 1 year from yesterday and annual turnover is the same period of sorry. Standard turnover is till yesterday. That is 15 September of last year till yesterday, 14 June. From yesterday as in date of loss ka yesterday. Okay. 15 September 2016 to 14 September 2017. And annual turnover is from 15 September 2016 to 14 September 2017. That is till yesterday. Standard turnover is till a date of the loss, 14 June 2018. So standard turnover is that same period, that loss period last year. Okay, from September 2016 to June 2017. Annual turnover is till yesterday, 14 September 2017. Now, financial year turnover of 1617. That is before the year before the loss took place. Okay. That was 1000 crores. So, actual turnover generated during indemnity period is 25 crores. Okay. Now, after the loss, there was reduction in turnover. Okay. So, from the standard turnover of 250 crores, it has now come up to 25 crores only. Okay. Then increase in cost of work incurred for mitigating the reduction in turnover. Now, of course, the loss has come, the turnover has come down. So to start again everything, to bring it back to normal, the insured incurred the ICOW of 50 lakhs. Next, loss of turnover avoided by incurring ICOW. Now he is saying ki loss of turnover avoided. He saved this much of loss, 8 crores of loss in ICOW by incurring that ICOW of 50 lakhs only. Now he avoided the loss of 8 crores of turnover. Next, gross profit earned during previous financial year, that is 1617. Our loss happened in the financial year of 1718. Okay. His gross profit earned during previous financial year of 1617 was 60 crores. So we will now find the trend. How, at what percentage the profit was increasing. So how we'll find? We'll divide this gross profit, which was earned during previous financial year of 60 crores, divided by financial turnover. That is 1000, which is given in F. Okay. So rate is 60. That is gross profit divided by financial year turnover. That is 1000 into 100. That is 6%. So at 6% gross profit was expected in the year of the loss as well. Now, next is ICOW economy limit. Whatever maximum we are liable to pay. That is loss of gross profit thereby avoided. So how much of turnover he saved was 8 crores. So 8 crores into this gross profit of 6% rate. Okay, that is 48 lakhs. So he has his economy limit is 0.48 CRs. We will be paying him 0.48 CRs. Now, some standing charges, he was not, he didn't have to pay. That was 75 lakhs. So that is a save, he saved it on by himself. So we don't need to pay that. So in our calculation, we'll be deducting this 75 lakhs. And finally is the time excess of 14 days. For FLOP, it is 14 days of standard gross profit. Now we'll go step by step. So first, like I said, we'll find out the growth trend, how much the business was growing. So your previous year turnover, that is financial turnover, was 1000 crores. Your latest annual turnover is 1200 crores. So your growth was 1200 minus 1000 divided by 1000. You're finding out the trend, okay, not the rate. Rate of gross profit 6%, we already found out. This is the trend, how much turnover we are expecting. So you're saying 1200 minus 1000 divided by the base. You're calculating on the previous year turnover. So that will be the base. That comes up to 20%. So the business was growing by 20%. So expected sales during interruption should also be increased by this trend only. Next, adjusted estimated turnover during indemnity period. So normal turnover during indemnity period was 250 crores. Like we saw in the previous slide, the standard turnover, the point D, it was 250 crores. Okay. But if you apply this 20% growth, which happened, the turnover has increased nicely at 20%. So the turnover should have been 300 crores. This is the turnover of the business would have earned if no fire or loss had happened. If everything was normal, there was no loss, nothing. 1000 crores ka 1200 crores happened business. So for that month, it would have been 300 crores. Last year it was 250. This year it would have been 300 crores. but there was reduction in turnover, right? So third step is expected turnover was 300 crores, but there was reduction. Your actual turnover was only 25 crores. So now we are going to find out how much was the reduction. So 300 minus 25, that is 275 crores. This is the loss of sales caused by the interruption. See, because of that loss, 275 crores of sales amount was lost. Now comes the rate of gross profit. Okay. Gross profit is different and the trend is different. Gross profit is only the rate of the gross profit. Trend is the turnover trend. How much is the trend turnover increasing? Okay. So now we'll find out the rate of gross. We already found out in the first slide, in the earlier slide itself, gross profit comes to 6%. So what it means is for every 100 rupees of sales, the business is earning 6 rupees as gross profit. But now we saw that he suffered a loss of 275 crores after that fire or whatever. So here now his 6 rupees is lost on every 100 rupees of sale. So loss of gross profit is 275 into 6%. That is 16.5 crores. 275 crores. Huh? So that's why I'm not written crores. 275 into 6% is 16.5 crores of sales. 16.5 crores of gross profit is the loss. So this is the main BI loss due to reduced sales. Till now, we are just looking at the sales component, the turnover component. Okay. So you apply the rate of gross profit on the reduction in turnover and you find out how much is the gross profit. Now, like we said, we pay for loss of profit policy. We pay what? The gross profit loss of gross profit and the standing charges, the incurred cost of working. So the economic limit, like we found out before, it was 0.48 CR. Extra expenses spent to reduce, that is outsourcing overtime, whatever expenses he spent for reducing the loss. That we will add. Add matlab that means we are going to pay him. So we'll be paying him that 16.5 and we'll be paying him even the economic limit of 0.48 CR. Less savings in standing charges. Expenses that were not incurred. See, the production stopped. So there was no need to pay the rent or power or any other payments, you know. So expenses that were not incurred was 0.75 crores. Since these costs were saved, they are deducted. Since they were saved in the sum insured which he gave us, he had considered these costs as well. Okay. He had taken all the standing charges. But these standing charges were not incurred only after the loss. So for us, it's a saving. So the new loss of gross profit after these addition of, the ICOW and deduction of the saving. So earlier it was 16.5. Point number 5, basic loss of gross profit was 16.5. To that, we are adding the 0.48 is the economic limit and then reducing the saving. Saving reduction is because that means we don't have to pay him. He has saved it. So now this is the net BI loss. This is the actual loss which is happening, which has happened in the policy rather. Okay. Now the final second last step is under insurance. Loss you have found out now. But now you will check whether the sum insured was correctly taken or not. So sum insured required will be calculated like this. The annual turnover is 1200 crores. Okay. From 1000 crores last year, it is 1200 crores. Rate of gross profit is 6%. And indemnity period is 15 months. But like we saw in the earlier sums as well, indemnity period is to be taken in years, number of years to arrive at the sum insured. So the sum insured should have been 1200, that is annual turnover, into 6%, the gross profit rate, into indemnity period, that is 1.25. It should have been 90 crores. And what the insured has taken is 80 crores. That means the under insurance is there. So even after finding out the loss of gross profit, we come to know that sum insured in the beginning itself was not taken correctly. It was not declared rightly by the insured. So now, because of this underinsurance, our underinsurance factor will be applied on the loss. So 16.23 will be proportionately reduced into that 80 divided by 90, because instead of 90 crores, it just took the sum insured of 80 crores as the loss. As the sum insured. So 16.23 into 80 divided by 90 is 14.43 crores. Claim is now proportionately. Now again, for us, the claim has reduced again because of underinsurance, right? For this, underinsurance is not like IR policy 15% all. This is a different calculation. This is an FLOP policy. Okay. Here, underinsurance is applicable strictly. So claim is now reduced proportionately. Now, should we pay this 14.43 crores? No. One more last step is remaining. Policy excess. So after all these calculations, time excess will be applicable. So time excess is calculated at 0.77. Like, I think I have not given. I just time excess is 14 days of gross profit. So 14 into the rate of gross profit into the this thing. It will give you the number of days out of this. It will come up to 0.77. I think you can use the reference of the earlier sum to find the time excess. So initial loss. So what is time excess? Is the initial loss period not payable under the policy. So after getting this net loss of 14.43 crores, you'll have to remove the time excess. So our loss, which is payable to the insured, is now 13.66 crores only. This is the final amount which we'll be paying to the insured after, under insurance factor and after the time excess. 13.66 crores is the loss. So this sum has many aspects to it. There are many steps. So go through these steps, understand them. Then you'll come to know how we are arriving at the final loss. So in short, the expected sales loss you have to first find out. Like we said, sales and turnover are the basis of this. So first you'll have to find out the trend. Then convert it to the gross profit. Then adjust it for the increased cost of working. Wherever he has spent the money, we will pay according to his economy limit. And wherever he has saved the money, we will deduct it from our claim amount. After that, reduce it for underinsurance, then deduct time excess, and that will be the final claim amount. So, yeah, these were. Yes,
Hello. The
Ah.
increased cost of working, increased it came up to 48 lakh.
48 lakh, yes.
Okay. The turnover recovered by when it is applied on this one, that will come only 50 lakhs, right?
1 second. Yeah, I didn't get you what. 50 lakhs for what?
50 lakhs. What is that? Turnover. It should not exceed gross profit earned by the turnover recovered. There is some clause like that, right? So if it is 50 lakh, 48 is less than the gross profit earned by increased cost of working. So is it payable? That 48 lakh?
That's payable. I'm not aware of this condition, but I'll look into it. At least in the notes and the resources I researched, I didn't come across this condition, but I'll check it out. Can you just give me some, reference in the comments, and I'll just check it out, okay?
No, in the text it says the amount payable as increased cost of working cannot exceed the gross profit earned on the turnover maintained by additional expenses.
You're talking on the slides, ma'am?
No. I am reading it from the textbook. That is the turnover.
Textbook. Okay.
Yeah, the turnover we recovered from increased cost of working, say it is 2 crore, just for an example. So we will apply the gross profit on that, right? That, yeah, here
Huh.
you have done it, sir. See, it is 48 lakhs.
Huh.
So this should not exceed exceed the gross profit earned. What we have to pay is 48 lakh, right?
Right, ma'am. Huh.
So it should not exceed 50 lakhs. Okay, okay. Then it's okay. I thought it's the
Then
numbers.
it's huh.
Okay, okay. Now it's clear, ma'am.
Yeah, clear. Huh. So yeah, actually, I've tried to give you some examples for BI. BI sums are going to be tricky, but it depends on the scale also you're appearing for. So maybe for scale 2 to 3 and all, they might ask the basic calculation, and slowly they might ask about these, complicated ones like the trend and the. But remember to apply the time excess at the end. Because those are policy deductibles. That's yeah. If anyone else has any doubts,
Ma'am, can you
please go
explain
ahead and
time excess once again?
Slide.
time excess. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it was there in the presentation. Yeah. So this is just an example for time excess. It is minimum 7 days of gross profit. Okay. So
Yes.
suppose the standard turnover is 100 crores and rate of gross profit is 6%. Indemnity period is 6 months. That is one. See, for time excess, since the days are given, we have to also calculate in days only. So here, 7 days, that is 7 into 100, that is standard turnover, into 6, that is rate of gross profit, divided by 180. 180 is the indemnity period of 6 months, converted into days, into 100. 100 is that 6% percent. So 6 divided by 100. So that 100 has come down. So if you calculate this, it will come to 0.23 crores. So same for that sum also 0.77. If you go according to this method, the amount would have come 0.77 crores.
Okay, ma'am.
You have to calculate it for the standard turnover basis on that and take it into convert it into number of days.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any feedback also is welcome. Maybe next time I can make it more comprehensive, but it would have gone beyond 4 hours there.
No, madam, it was fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And thank you everyone for bearing with me. I hope I was
So it
audible
was
and
great, ma'am. It was a great lecture, and despite of having so much, you're suffering from cold and cough, and still you did it so very nicely. Even the presentation, actually, you have used all the slides and all so very nicely that those are very nicely readable and very nicely explained also. So really great lecture, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, could you share
thank you
this
so much.
presentation, please?
Yes. I'll be sharing both the presentations. Wherever you have any queries or any suggestions, you can even get in touch with Rishikesh. And thank you, Rishikesh, for arranging all these lectures. He's taking a lot of effort to find faculty and all. And I'm really happy you all are also giving such great response to the lectures. And all the best to all of you. I know you will all succeed. Yeah. So congratulations in advance as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
So that's it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Rishikesh? Yeah. So I'm logging out. Yeah. Thank you.